off your faces! Bad maggots, you gotta stay outside.
killing some zombies.
That's a fucking hell, dude.
Nah, this is such a dub.
Whatever.
Boy's really about to play some DBD.
I honestly might not. I might play some girls. It's not worth getting on if I'm just gonna be playing by myself, because then I have 3 fucking random.
Bro says 3 randoms to babysit. Like, you're not gonna be the one that has to get babysat.
Really, like, I'm at least top 50 in the state at DVD. Okay.
I'll pretend I didn't hear that.
I mean, you can pretend you didn't hear it, but it's the truth, so.
No.
Oh, yeah. Oh man, I just shit my pants.
Yeah, you always have shit in your pants. Why don't you go clean it?
No, bro, I want to be like you for a change.
Well, that's my point. If you want to be like that, go clean it. Don't just sit there with shit in your pants.
Nah, bro, you always got shit in your britches, dude. Shitty britches, dude.
What?
Just nobody ever says that word anymore, bro. Bridges. It's like you gotta be at least 65 plus to unlock that word. There's nobody that ever says that, bro. Bridges. That's funny. Yeah, bro, I was at my YMCA today, and we were playing like full court pretty much all day. And this has happened before, that's why I'm so fucking annoyed when this happens, but there's this random fucking member of faculty, her name's Kim. I fucking hate this bitch, dude.
Oh, yeah, of
because
course
her
her name's Kim.
office is... I hate her... No. Her office is literally on the side of the gym, the main gym, like the basketball gym, the good one. Because there's 2 gyms at the YMCA. There's 2 basketball courts in the YMCA. There's one in the middle floor, so on the 2nd floor, and there's one on the 3rd floor, the top floor. The one on the 3rd floor, aka the top floor, is fucking terrible. Like that, you never see a game going on up there unless it's like little kids, because it's a terrible court. It's so small, nobody likes it. But the gym on the bottom, the court on the bottom, everybody's on there. You know, everybody plays on it. It's an incredible court. It's not incredible, but it's a lot better than the top one. And so we're playing like pretty much all day. And obviously, being the YMCA, there's going to be a lot of people there, right? I mean, it's the YMCA. What other YMCA is in town? What other place can you go to swim indoors other than Best Western? Nowhere. What other place can you go to play basketball indoors? Nowhere, right? So obviously you go to the YMCA. And there's going to be a lot of people there, naturally. Well, there's a full court upstairs. Even though it's not the best court, that court's typically available unless they have pickleball or something like that going on up there. But
Pickleball.
They didn't today. I swear to fucking God. They didn't today, though. So, that court has been free all day, right? And so, nobody's playing on that court, bro. I've been up there like a few times, seen some people practicing shots, but that court's not taking, my man. I know that by heart. And so, we're playing, it's like 5 o'clock, and it's... How do I even describe it, bro? It's a really good game. It's like 4-on-4, so we're not even playing 5, bro. Because of how many people that weren't in the fucking gym when we started playing. So we're playing, and then randomly, I see there's an orange net that divides half court at half court. It splits the court in 2. and I see that motherfucker start to come down. And as a basketball player, man, that is an automatic, like, that's it, I quit, I'm leaving, you pissed me off,
Well, yeah, the
fuck you, I'm
game's
canceling
over
my
at that
membership.
point.
Yeah, like that's an automatic, like, what the fuck, bro? Like, I'm getting ready to pull out the black book and say every fucking thing I'm not supposed to, right? And then I look over and Kim, she's lowering it. Now, mind you, I haven't seen her all day. Like, usually, obviously, since her office is right by the court, you'd see her, like, you'd notice if she's there or not. She was not there all fucking day, bro. And I got there at like 4, and it's like, I want to say it was like 5. So that's an entire hour that I didn't fucking see her. So chances are she's not the YMCA. And so I can only assume, like, she shows up, or she's, you know, somehow goes upstairs and wasn't up there all day. I don't know. But we're playing and we see that come down and we're like, what the fuck, bro? And so we stop, and she's done this before, and what she said before is, and this motherfucker lied to me too, because she did it before. The first time she did it, I was annoyed, but I kind of shrugged it off, because I talked to her. I was like, hey, you know, what are you lowering the net for? And she was like, oh well, not everybody's able to play, so I'm gonna pull this net down so that everybody's able to play. And I was like, we're playing 5-on-5. We're trying to get everybody we can on the court. We can't do 6-on-6 or, you know, 7-on-7. Not only is that insane, but this court is definitely not even big enough for that. And
there's no court that is big enough for a 7-on-7.
No, and so I was like, we can't play with everybody. So I told those kids over there that they'll be playing the next game, because they didn't play this game. The losers will get off. And then she said, okay, well, I just don't want to hear kids walking past my office saying, man, I wish I got to play. And I was like, well, what is the court upstairs taken? Is it busy? And she was like, they're playing pickleball up there. I was like, okay, well, usually when people are playing at half court, you know, because the court's when stuff like that happens and people have to play half court, I was like, typically people don't play 5-on-5. They play 3-on-3, at most 4-on-4. So I get that these kids want to play, and I told them they already will have the next game, but you just probably costed 2 people that are playing in that game to get off.
You
and
can't
possibly
play 5-on-5
even
half court.
4. No, and I was like, you costed maybe 2 people that were playing, possibly even 4, to get off of the court now, because you put that divider down, because nobody's going to agree to play a 5-on-5. She was like, well, I just got to do this because, you know, I don't like it when kids are being left out. And so, I eventually, I was still pissed, but eventually I struck up a deal with her. I was like, okay, whenever pickleball's over, she was like, it's going to be at 6 o'clock. I was like, all right, can you lift it up at 6 o'clock? She was like, sure, no problem. That was like weeks ago. And she didn't end up doing it at the end of the day, which is fucking stupid, bro, because why would you tell me you're going to do it when you don't? It's just dumb. Anyway, and so today, I don't see her all day, bro. Like, she's just not here. I'm thinking, all right, cool, she's not here. Awesome, fuck that bitch, right? But then she comes in randomly, bro, and divides the court in the middle of a game, my man. And so, I'm pissed. And she like left quick, so she knew what the fuck she was doing. She knew she pissed motherfuckers off, bro. Because I didn't even see her after that motherfucker was down all the way, bro. Like, she dipped, man. She was out of that bitch. And so I was like, okay, you know, she left. And I think she left the building, bro. I'm not even gonna lie. I think she just took that shit down just as like a fuck you, and then just left the building, because I didn't see her the rest of the time I was there. Mind you, bro, she did this at like 5, and I left at like 7:45. So she left. I didn't see her for a long ass time. And so, you know, eventually she let it down at like 5, and 5:30 rolls around. Most of those kids are gone because, you know, they don't want to play fucking half court. Full court's the move, bro, all the time.
Yeah.
And so all the kids leave, and there's this younger girl that works there. probably about our age or something like that. And she'll play sometimes, and I was like, hey, could you possibly like raise that divider up, because obviously I know that Kim lowered it, but nobody else is on the other side of the court, and so it's kind of pointless to have it down. You know, people want to play full court. She's like, yeah, no problem, I'll raise it up. So she raises it up for us. She even plays with us. And I was like, see what I mean, bro? Like, why can't more people be like that? Like, I guarantee you, Kim has never played basketball a day in her life. You know what I mean? And here's where my argument gets serious. You cannot be policing shit. You cannot be policing shit or refereeing shit that you have no experience with, right? 'Cause, like, imagine this, okay? Imagine if NFL refs only ever played soccer. You know how fucking bad that'd be? You know how bad that'd be? Holding. Like, bro, what? Or somebody fucking throws the ball and somebody catches it. Oh, whoa, he caught the ball with his hand. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's so fucking stupid. You cannot police something or regulate something that you have absolutely no experience with. Had she played basketball, bro, she'd know that, oh man, I'm kind of cutting the amount of people that are playing here down significantly if I lower this divider. It's like, and on top of that, today, bro, the court wasn't even taken up upstairs. The kids could have definitely went up there and played, but that's why because Dylan used to come up to the Y's a lot, bro. Like, I used to see him up there a lot. But I think Dylan actually doesn't even go to that YMCA anymore, because he asked me, he was like, hey, do you go to Fostoria's Y? And I was like, sometimes. They were like, yeah, I don't even go there anymore. That shit's ass. And other people have said that too. And it's like, I've come to the conclusion that that's why, bro. Like, not only is the Y very expensive nowadays, but it's also so poorly fucking managed, bro. Like, you cannot tell me for 1 second that you can justify stopping an entire game. Like, you know, it's one thing to do it after a game's done, you know what I mean? Or if everybody leaves the court. It's a whole other thing to interrupt an entire fucking game, bro. Pretty much saying, fuck all of you, you're gonna be playing on one half, or you're gonna be going upstairs, or, you know, whatever. And it's just like, it pisses me off, man. It's like, bro, you have absolutely no right to stop this game just because, like, 2 kids are sitting out, and we already told them they're going to be playing the next game. And so that shit just pisses me off, bro. Like, that shit is just so fucking annoying.
Well, what else would you expect from someone named Kim?
It's just so fucking stupid, bro. Like, I'm just like, really? Really? Yeah, I'm gonna lower the court divider, bro, and then I'm gonna leave.
That's the fucked up part. Like, you're gonna go there. She was probably just going there to grab like one little thing out of her office that she forgot, and was like, "Oh, fuck these guys! I'm gonna put the divider down," and then just left.
Yeah, it's just like, why? Like, what was the point in that? Like, and I shit you not, bro. There were like 2 to 4 kids sitting there, and the upstairs court. The thing that's stupid is, I know good and goddamn well she didn't tell them kids to go upstairs and play, or even check if the court upstairs was taken. She yeah, fuck these guys, whatever. I don't care. It's like, dude, you have absolutely no right to put that fucking divider down. Like,
And then you just leave.
And then, but my thing is, here's another argument that I was thinking of. I was like, we can come to the YMCA. Most people that come to the YMCA do what? One of 3 things, okay? Work out, play basketball, and swim.
Yeah,
Top 3 things.
that's all there is.
You do at the
Really.
YMCA. Unless you go in the recreational room and you can play racquetball or dodgeball or pickleball, but
One out of
majority
50.
of the time, basketball, swimming, and working. Okay? Now, here's something interesting. Do you ever see people get so... Do you ever see the pool get so packed that people just aren't able to get in and swim? No. That doesn't happen. The pool's big enough for everybody, right? Do you ever see the gym in the YMCA getting so that people are sitting on the outside saying, man, I can't that's getting ready to be dropped in 2008 at a fucking GameStop. There's a whole line of people sitting on the outside trying to get in. No, it doesn't happen, right? you see that happen at the YMCA when it comes to basketball? Yes. Now, what would that tell you? That would tell you one of two things. Either A, sorry, I have a lot of phlegm, dude. I have a lot of fucking snot. Either A, it tells you one of two things. A, there are just more basketball players there than swimmers or people that are working out, which is plausible. Or B, there is not enough space, or there is not enough good, there's, like, my biggest thing is everybody always fights from the bottom, okay? Why? Because the upstairs court is terrible. It's awful. So if you want to truly eliminate the kids being left out and shit like that, why don't you tell them to go upstairs, or number two, realize that not everybody's going to be able to get on the same fucking court at the same time. That's just how it is, man. That's how it is. Not everybody is able to get on the court at the same time.
Like, if 14 people or 16 people all show up to play basketball, you physically cannot all play at the same time and have a actual game.
No. You know why? And it's, she doesn't play basketball, so she don't get it. The pool has no set roles, has no set amount, right? Other than I'll give you, the amount of weight that can be in the pool at one time. But that's incredibly huge. I mean, you're talking about pretty much a fucking room. So obviously there's not going to be 1,000 people in the fucking pool room, but you know, there's no set rules or set amount of people that are allowed to be in the pool. Just like there's no set amount of people that are going to be able to be in the gym. You go to gyms. So that tell you basketball. So what would that mean? That would mean that if there aren't at minimum 10 people, at maximum 10 people there, that would mean how many other outliers are there? There's 12, maybe 2, 4, maybe 15, right? You would have outliers. You'd have people that aren't able to step on the court. So what do? Well, they have two options. You gotta go upstairs and play basketball upstairs, or you wait on the sidelines until the game's over to get in. But you don't divide the court in two and say, yeah, now everybody can play. Because I guarantee you that 5-on-5 that was happening before isn't going to turn into a 6-on-6 or 7-on-7. It's going to turn into a 3v3, at max a 4v4. You'd know that if you played basketball, but you don't. And that's another thing that I think it like pisses me off is like you have all, and I know this is gonna sound dumb, but you have all these quote unquote corporate guys or corporate people at a YMCA. That's not what it's about. That's not what it's about, man. If you want to be, and it's the same problem I have with teachers, dude. If you like being around kids, dude, if you like teaching people shit, teach. But don't do it because it's easy. Don't do it because, you know, you like to boss people around. That's not why you teach. That's not why you should be around kids. Don't go and work at a YMCA just because you want a fucking easy job and you don't want to work in a factory or go to college or be in the military or, you know, be a doctor or be a lawyer. Don't do that. Okay? That's not the environment for you, man. If you're too corporate and you're not willing to at least learn about the shit that you have available at your workstation, right? That's like if I worked at PMC and I didn't know how the lines worked, bro. That's like if I worked at PMC and I was just like, yeah, I don't want to learn about this line. I'm just going to do my job. Whatever. I'm here for a check. And then I turn around and tell people that want to learn about the line, oh, no. You're not allowed to do that. No. That's ridiculous. No. It's like, if you want to work at a YMCA, dude, at least learn about the sport. That's bare minimum, dude. How many people are allowed to be on a court at a time? 10? That's bare minimum. If you look up basketball, I swear to fuck, dude, on Google, first page, it'll be like, yeah, 10 people on a court at a time, homie. Like, that's it. That's all it'll tell you. And, you know, it kind of gets to me, man, because it's like bare minimum effort you have to put into that shit.
And it's like, go ahead.
I'm not asking you to pull out the rule book and be a certified NBA ref. I'm asking you simply to at least give a fuck enough about what you're doing to know the basics of it. That way, when the people that are playing the sport that you provide the ability to play, you don't seem like an asshole because you're arguing with them simply because of the fact that you work for the establishment that offers the sport. I mean, it's ridiculous, dude. Like, it's the same thing for swimming, dude. If you want to tell people, hey, you know, I know how to swim, you know, I'm a lifeguard, I'm a swimming instructor, don't just jump into the deep end, and dunk other people in. Okay, fine, you know, no big deal. But if you didn't know anything about swimming and you were like, yeah, yeah, that's cool, you can dunk people if you want, that's stupid, dude. You know nothing about swimming, you know nothing about, you know, people in water or how they would react to that happening to them. And so it's ridiculous. If you, like, same thing for working out, because that's another thing they offer, right? If you have never worked out, if you've never lifted weights, right? And you're like, hey, why are you drinking a protein shake? No drinking in the gym. It's like, I'm doing this to get protein simply because I want to gain weight, or I want to get, you know, leaner. I want to get ripped. Well, no drinking. It's like, this is very common among a lot of gym people. No, not having that. No drinking in the gym. It's like, dude, and it's the same energy, dude, because you cannot sit there and tell me that we're going to be playing with 6 people on a team. It's not happening. You know what's going to happen if you say, hey, you guys are playing 6-on-6, or you're not playing at all? Motherfuckers will be like, so we got to go out to the high school and play then, or go to Finley's? Why? Because they're not.
So you got to understand
they're not going to play 6-on-6.
Mm-hmm. Hoopers would rather not play than play a 6-on-6 or 7-on-7.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, and so it's just like that's my biggest thing is it's like teachers too, man. Like, it's the same principle. If you hate kids, if you don't have the wherewithal to understand how a kid's mind works, you know, it's like I get so fucking sick of all these stuck-up fucking teachers that are saying, well, these kids don't listen nowadays. All these kids are fucking stuck up. All they want to do is be on their phone. It's like, let me ask you a question, okay? When you were sitting there in the funny enough, the classroom and you're learning how to be that would be like the perfect utopia for you. Were you thinking that you would have like a remote and you were able to mute students when they'd be loud, or you'd be able to turn up the concentration on everybody in the room, or you'd be able to block out all of the cell phones and say, all right, put them in the basket, or else, you know, or else there's going to be consequences, and everybody listen to you 100% of the time? Dude, you're a school teacher, okay? You have to understand how kids work, how they think, how they feel, how they act, how they react to things, man. That is your job as a teacher, because you're around them 8 hours a day, at least. Yeah. Your job is to understand how these creatures work so that you can educate them on a basic level, man. You're not, this isn't a college. This isn't a trade. You're literally, this is something that all kids have to do. All kids have to go to school. And so if you want to be a teacher, dude, at least try to act like you give a fuck and learn how people think, feel, act, react to shit. But don't just sit there and say, yeah, these kids aren't fucking listening, man. I hate my job. I don't know why I do this. I don't get paid enough. It's like, what? Nobody forced you into this position. Nobody said, oh, ooh, your pick out of the hat is teacher. You're gonna have to go to college and learn how to do that, and fuck you. Nobody did that, dude. Nobody. I'll tell you what, man. If you want to be a lazy sack of shit, which I'm not saying all of them are. Most of them are actually pretty cool. If you want to be a lazy sack of shit, don't give a fuck about your students, don't care about how they feel, think, act, react. Be a gym teacher, dude. It's fucking perfect, man. You just set them up with something to do, and motherfuckers that don't listen, they can walk around the gym, man.
Bro, you can't tell me that
Cookie Monster pajamas.
You can't tell me that being a gym teacher wouldn't be the easiest shit in the world. You just line everybody up, take attendance, and say, hey, we're gonna play dodgeball all day.
Yeah, it's just like, for real, dude. If you want to be a lazy piece of shit motherfucker and don't want to do anything, don't want to teach kids shit, be a gym teacher, dude. I'm fucking be a gym teacher, okay? But don't sit here and tell me, oh well, you know, the kids don't listen nowadays. You know, I don't understand how they think about shit. You know, it's just this didn't cross your mind when you were going to school for 4 years for being a fucking teacher, dude. Like this didn't cross your mind one time. Like you didn't one time stop and think, oh fuck, you know, how am I gonna deal with that cell phone shit, man? Hold on, I don't know if I want to. No, you were just like, yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. They'll magically. I'm sure I'll teach in a great district where they'll magically just either A, not have phones, or B, always listen to me. Yeah, let me know how that one fucking goes for you. But it's like, you see this everywhere, dude. Everywhere there's people that just don't give a fuck enough to learn about their job, and they just absolutely will not accept the fact that maybe somebody else knows more about their job than they do. And that's the funny thing, is that, like, you can't have it both ways. You can't say that, oh yeah, I know more about this than you, but I don't give a fuck about it. There's no way. There's no way. You can't. Like, you're not going to be able to sit there and tell hoopers, hey, you're going to have to play 6-on-6, and then they're going to say, no, that's not possible. Well, I work here, so it's got to be. It's like, well, if you work here, you should probably fucking know that the max is 5-on-5.
Someone who cares about what they do will always know more than someone who doesn't care, no matter the experience. Like, you have to care about the job in order to know what you're doing and to know what you're talking about.
It's just like, I can't help but to think, and I'll tell you this, dude. The YMCA, and I know that this is going to sound absolutely stupid, but the YMCA is so expensive. And the reason why I say this is because, I'll tell you what, man. Back in, like, 2014, 15, 16, around that time, what do you think, okay? What do you think the general admission fee would be to go to the YMCA for a day? What do you think it'd be? Like, what do you think, like, you want to go to YMCA for, you know, most people get out of school, like, what, 3 o'clock? Y closes to minors around, like, 7, so 4 hours. What do you think the general admission fee for YMCA for a day, to go there, you know, chill, you know, fuck around, go, then do whatever you're doing, and then swim at 7 o'clock, what do you think it would be?
$9.99.
Dude, it was $2. $2. If you had 200 pennies, dude, you were getting into the YMCA for a day. Now think about that. Think about that for a minute. That was almost 10 years ago. It was $2 to get into the YMCA for a day. For a day. Who doesn't have $2? You know what I mean? Like, it was
Johnny
easy.
Taylor.
Well, yeah, but she's a dumb bitch. But, like, who, you know, 2 days, you get in there for $2, you get in there for a day off. 2 days would be $4. You're not even breaking a 10, dude. And so, it's just like, holy shit, man. Now, what do you think it is to go to the YMCA today?
Now it's probably like $6
a day. I'll tell you what. You can't buy your way into the YMCA today.
Oh, you have to get monthly memberships?
You have to get a membership.
What? That's such a fucking scam.
Now, I just told you something huge. And it's this. You used to be able to go to the YMCA and not have a membership. Spend $2 a day to get into the YMCA. $2. Now you can't. And you also had the availability of a membership back then too. It's not like they didn't have a membership. So you could have been a member, or you could have paid $2 every day to get in. Now, I'll tell you this. There was a time, and it was like, man, I was still in school, so I think it was junior or maybe senior year. So maybe around 2019, 2020, 2021, those 3 years. Around that time, you could get into the YMCA for how much money? How much money do you think you could get into the YMCA for around that time as a guest? No membership. A day. How much?
$4.
No, it was $5. Okay, so we went up $3. Now I know some people will say, "Oh, it's fucking bullshit." Well, not that bad. Again, like $5. Who doesn't have $5? Not that big a deal. Here was the big deal. How many times do you think you could do that? You can only do that.
They had a limit?
Exactly. You could only do that 3 times for a year before you had to become a member.
Are you fucking kidding me?
I'm 100% serious.
You could go one day every 4 months.
I swear to God.
We're fucking up. We're fucking up.
So, let's just recap. Okay?
Hold on, let me crack open a cold one real quick. What are we talking about? What in the fuck? I need a Mountain Dew.
So, you used to be able to go to the YMCA for $2 every day. No membership needed. I mean, I remember it clean as day, dude, because I used to go damn near every fucking day. You used to be able to go there. It would always be packed full of fucking people. Do whatever you want. You know, go to the concession stand. They always had so many vending machines in there, man.
Mm-hmm.
Go to the concession stand. You used to be able to go up there. They had the PlayStation room, man. You used to be able to do whatever the fuck you wanted there, as long as you weren't being incredibly bad, dude. It was awesome. We had dodgeball tournaments. They had basketball up there. They had racquetball, and then after all that shit's done, dude, you'd finish off the night with going to the pool and swimming, and you'd go home, man. Oh my God, it was amazing. You used to be able to do all that for $2 a day, man. $2. Okay? Then, around 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, you know, then they started saying, well, still do all that, but you need $5 to do that. And on top of that, you can only do that 3 times before you became a member. Now, what do you think the cost of going to, they call them guest passes. So you used to be able to get in, you know, guest pass, shit like that. I don't know exactly what it was, but that's what they used to call them back in those $5 days. What do you think it costs to go to the YMCA for a day now?
What, did you just say you can't?
Exactly. You can't. You can't. Now, how much do you think a membership costs for the YMCA?
I think back when I was going, it was like $16 a month.
16 for minors, and I think it's like $40 for adults. It goes by like 8 brackets, which isn't that bad. But the thing I have to say about the YMCA's predicament is, I don't know, like, I could say it's not that bad here, you know, because I've never been to another YMCA. But there could be YMCA's that cost $10, $20, $30. And I have absolutely no idea. And they could also have more things to do. They might have a lot more things to do there, rather than the stuff that we have in this YMCA. So my idea is, at what point do you say, I can take the abuse from all these guys that don't know what the fuck they're talking about 24/7, you know, and tell me, they'll tell me how to play the sport that I know how to play more than that. I could take that, but at least it's cheap. But now it's not either. Now, you know, you're paying for a company to tell you, and it's not everybody, man, but it's enough to ruin it. You know what I mean? Like, it's enough to make people like that leaves a pretty bad taste in your mouth, dude. Think about it. If you're new to going to the YMCA, and you see some lady come up and interrupt your game, doesn't say a word to anybody, just interrupts the game and leaves. What do you think? What are you going to think about that? You're probably going to think, "Oh my God, is it like that all the time? Or is this YMCA run by fucking stuck-up pricks? I don't want to spend I don't want to go here. I'll go to the Finley Y." it's just like, I cannot help but to think of how stupid it is that, you know, you don't, you work at the YMCA, man, but you don't know anything about the shit that you offer.
Especially if your office is right beside the court.
Yeah. I like that, man. I don't know. All I
Can't have fun anymore.
All I can think of is like, Jesus Christ, dude. Like, are you serious? Is that a caulk gun? It was. Oh fuck! They better not use fucking caulk guns at Taco Bell for the sour cream. What the fuck? Yeah, I don't know, dude. It's just like I think about that all the time. I'm just like, how are you gonna tell me? Which I'm not even a real hooper, dude. I'm a poser hooper. I'll be honest, man. Like I go up there and I fuck around, dude. Like I'm not incredible
Nah, you're
at
a
playing
hooper.
basketball.
Yeah, you're a hooper, bro. I don't want to see you on the court. You're coming at me. I'm getting out the way. You could take the 2 points. You're a hooper.
Like, dude,
I'm not getting put on the not top 10 plays of the week.
Dude, I'm not. You know what? I'm just I'm an average guy that picks up a basketball every now and then, dude. And I know that you can't force people to play. You can't force people to play with everybody. You can't. It's just, man. It's shit like that just makes me think, you know, how hard would it be for you to just say, you know what, okay, no big deal, we're gonna chill. Not everybody needs to play right now, you know, we're good. You guys go up to the gym, go up to the top gym if you want to play. How hard would that be, man?
It's like, if there's people playing on a court, like, I mean, it's pretty obvious that 5-on-5 is perfect for a normal basketball court. You can't cut a court in half and expect you to be able to play the game with the same number of people. If you cut the court in half, you have to cut the players in half. So then instead of having 5-on-5, you have 2 different 3-on-3s. So you have basically the same number of people. But people are having less fun because who would rather play 3-on-3 than 5-on-5? Nobody. Hoopers play 5-on-5.
It's just I would. Here's a funny thing, and it's funny and fucked up at the same time. I would legit wholeheartedly quit my job and work at the YMCA if I made the same money. Dude. Like if I could do shit at the YMCA and try to make it better for the same money I get paid now, I'd do it, man. I'd do it because I know what it's like to have piece of shit YMCA fucking officials tell you, hey man, you're not allowed to do that. You know, and it's like not only just that, but think about this for a minute. Okay, this is another problem that a lot of people have, and this never used to happen at the YMCA, dude. But now it does. And it's only from what I can tell is the new management. The old management did not give a fuck. What do most hoopers bring with them when they go to the court? Very easy, very simple. What is it? It's a bag. They got to be able to carry their ball. They got to be able to carry their shoes. They got to be able to carry their keys. They got to be able to carry their wallet, any gum or drinks they might have, right? And so, my question to you is, where do they put said bag? Well, if you know hoopers at all, you know they are not putting that shit in the locker room downstairs where they can't keep an eye on it.
No, everyone just sets it on the baseline or on the sideline.
Yes, exactly. Why? Because it's easy. Because I'm not going to tell you, hey, you gotta go. I know your phone is in your office, but you can't keep your phone in your office because you gotta go take it down, and put it in the locker room, and every time you want to check your phone, you gotta go down there. It's fucking stupid. So you put it where it's easily accessible. You wouldn't. Well, the YMCA faculty. Why would they not? Simple. It's a tripping hazard, dude. And when I tell you that I was a fucking dickhead when I heard this, I was a fucking dickhead when I heard this. I was like, a tripping hazard. Yeah, it's a tripping hazard.
Is it really that hard to just put...
A bag is a tripping hazard. Yeah. Not a thin plastic bag that you could get blown under your shoe and you could slip on like a banana peel potentially. I mean, like at least every, let's do a little bit of maths. I know I went to Fostoria, but I still think I might be able to figure this out. Basketball bags are big bags. I mean, you got to be able to carry a basketball in it, right? Basketball's at least a foot. They make those bags more than just a foot because you got to be able to put other things in it like that, like basketball shoes, right? So we're going to say the basketball bags are at least 2 feet on average. That's 24 inches. So, we're going to measure out 24 inches. Okay, take your measuring tape out, pull out 24 inches. Now, that's a pretty noticeable size for anything, right? I mean, if you saw a 24-inch chip, you'd be like, holy shit, that's a big-ass chip. If you saw a 24-inch steak, you'd be like, holy shit, that's a big-ass steak, right? So, pretty noticeable, right? All right. Now, you mean to tell me that when you're walking, you can't notice a 24-inch bag sitting anywhere where the fuck you're stepping?
And the thing is, normally there's not even just one lined up in a row. There's like 8. So there's no way you wouldn't see them.
You would think. But Okier, you're being facetious. You're being an asshole. Obviously, it's 24 inches if it's laying down, but what if it's standing up? And to that, now there is an argument that I can truly say, and, like, I know that I sounded like a smart ass by saying, it's 24 inches. But that argument kind of makes sense. Like, what if the bag is standing up? It's not 24 inches then. And then I would honestly be defeated and have to say, well, then I'd hope you'd be able to fucking notice it standing up, dumbass. Because if it's taller, then it's probably going to be a lot more easy for you to fucking see.
And if it's sitting up straight and not laying down, it's taking up less space, so you have more room to work with without actually hitting the fucking thing.
You would think so, but it's a trip hazard. And these are the same exact people that put... this is why it shouldn't surprise you. Because it's the same exact people that put down the court divider to make more people be able to play basketball. Like, I'm sorry, man, but that is the dumbest shit I've ever heard of on both accounts. Like, that is almost just... Like, I guarantee you, this bitch said, yeah, let's get a court divider. Why? Because I just watched this fucking the Infinite Chocolate video, and if you divide shit in half, it actually gives you a lot more of it. No, that is not how things work. I can guarantee you it's not how things work, but you know what? You try it, and you tell us if it... do that with your money. Take half of your money, spend it, and then save the other half, and then the half that you saved, take it, spend half, and then save half, and then take it, spend it, save half, and spend half, and let me know how much money you get. Yeah, it doesn't fucking last, buddy. Just because you're splitting the court in half does not mean that more people are going to be able to fucking play the game. And on top of that, if you're splitting the court in half, why in the fuck would the bags even matter? Think about this, bro. Easy win, dude. Easy dub. Next time you split the court in half, we're gonna take all of our bags and all of our shit, we're gonna put it on one half, and then we're all gonna play on the other half. Well, you're not allowed, we split the court in half. You can't go on that other half, dude. All our bags are over there. Why would you go on that other half? More people are gonna be able to play this way. Now it's not in the baseline where people can trip over it. It's on the other side of the court. Like I don't understand. Like, and it's stupid shit like that that makes people say, yeah. I don't and it's like, all of this is almost like feels like just control, dude. It almost just feels like they do it just to say, yeah, you're gonna have to do it this way.
Idea. Big brain idea. Are you ready for this? I don't think you're ready for this.
I don't think I am either.
You and I save up as much money as possible.
Yep, I'm already out.
Yeah, we fucking know. We build our own gym where St. Wendland used to be. And we manage it. And we make it better than the YMCA. We put them out of business and we become millionaires. Thoughts?
Incredible.
I mean, there's no way we could run it worse than the YMCA.
Oh, no. I honestly don't know what the fuck they're doing with St. Wendland land, because I've heard so many rumors of people trying to use it. Like, I've heard that Tim Hortons was going to be there at some point. I heard that the Sunnyland Farm, Sunnyville Farms, the fucking, the dump was going to set up their offices there, which I know good goddamn well they're not, because of how bad so many people complain about the smell. You'll have motherfuckers throwing bricks through the windows as soon as they get put up.
Yeah, put that on county.
No
I know, fucking stupid are you? The only busy road that we have.
Yeah, I don't know who's going to be buying that land. I don't know. But my thing is, we need something else in Foster. This goes back to the shit we were talking about a long time ago. You just need more shit here, man. Like, I'm not a big, go out and do shit type of person, man. Like, the most I go out and do is the YMCA. Why do I go out and do the YMCA a lot of time? Well, it's because, and I've experimented with this for a while, and every time I do it, it just seems to be more and more true. When I go out and I spend the day at the YMCA, or spend a few hours at the YMCA, or doing anything, but YMCA is the most fun. When I come home, I appreciate it more, man. I appreciate being able to come home to my room, watch a movie, watch some Hulu, play my game. Like, I enjoy my game a lot more when I'm away from it all fucking day than when I am on it all day. I enjoy it so much more when I come home from the YMCA. But the problem is, there's not much to do in Australia.
Yes, and we need more things. Like if people want to save Fall Story, I've been saying it for so long. Put a fun activity where St. Wendland used to be that everyone can enjoy, that kids can do, and out in the fucking plaza, put a fucking Buffalo Wild Wings. Put a B-dubs out there. You know how much money that would make if we had a B-dubs out there during Buckeye football season? Good fucking lord, you know how much money that would make? You know how many people go to Finley or Tiffin for B-dubs?
What you need is a Dave & Buster's to solve both problems.
Hell, there's so much space back in the plaza, you could probably put fucking both of those back there. Or you could put it, I don't know.
Yeah, but you don't want them to compete, because if you compete, you're going.
If they're in Fostoria in general, they're going to compete with each other. It's a 45-second drive from St. Wendland to the plaza.
What you need is some type of activity that is fun for people to do. But I don't like a sports bar is awesome, but the problem is not many kids are going to be able to go to a sport. Like, I get Buffalo Wild Wings is more than a restaurant, but what I would say is, like, you need something like a laser tag, or I don't know, like I know these guys at work are going to laugh, but like a golf simulator.
That's what I'm saying. That's what they could put on County Line by where St. Wendland used to be.
You need something to make people want to go out and do it. Problem is, man, I don't know who the fuck can do it. I don't know who the fuck you could get here to do that.
Well, you would also have to figure out how much money it would cost. Like, how much do we actually need? Like, is Micah our only hope for someone to have enough money to do this? Or is there someone that could somehow find a way that's a lot more realistic? That could try and save.
I don't know Micah Hyde. Okay. I met the guy like once. at the school. That's it. I don't know the guy. Okay, I don't know what his checking account's like. I don't know what his plans for retirement are like. I don't know. Okay, but I will tell you right now, wholeheartedly, Fostoria will get somebody at some point that's going to invest. The reason why I say this is, well, for a few reasons. Number one, it seems like there are a lot of jobs in Fostoria that I just didn't know existed until I started working. And I think that you might say, well, that's because you started working. But I'd never heard about these jobs ever. Like, even when I started working at Simona, I didn't hear about them. I didn't hear about the customer class. And I think these jobs are starting to step up their game a lot of the time, probably because the competition is. But you have a lot of good jobs in Fostoria. Not blockbuster, failure, but those are not very bad. They're actually pretty good, right? Another thing is, and I know this because I went to both of them, you had in the last year, well not in the last year, but the last few years, Fostoria actually had 2 shoe stores that showed up. Now you have a cereal bar, okay? Now you have a new spot out at Venue 18, Daddy and Case Pizza, which is fucking slapped, by the way. That shit is fucking amazing. Now you have the Thistle, I think it is, or something like that. I can't remember. Now you have that laser engraving place. Now you have that that Enchanted Bean. You have a lot of new business in Fostoria. You do. Now, my question to you is, where's it coming from? You could argue that a lot of it's coming from millionaires, man. They're just pumping money into the city. But I think what it's coming from is from the city to be giving out deals for these people that want to bring business to Fostoria. And if we're able to have all of those things happen, think about it, a coffee shop and a place that has Dunkin' Donuts, what the fuck, dude? You gotta be snorting some crack. But it happened. It happened. They did it. They pulled it off, dude. And so, my question, 2 shoe stores? It happened. They pulled it off. Now, they both left because there's not much of a market for that here, but it pulled off. They pulled it off. They were able to do it. I even bought a few pairs from the Frosty Kicks place that was right across from the line. Now, what was I gonna say? What's the name? The cereal bar. I know that guy's a creepy piece of shit, but at the same time, he pulled that off. Like, think about it, man. How many ice cream shops do we have in Fostoria? We have 2. We have...
Yeah. No, 3, if you count Whippy Dip.
Oh, yeah, you're right. We have Whippy Dip. We have Dairy Queen, and we have JB. Now, this guy was able to say, you know what? I'm gonna make a shake place, and it's gonna be as good as the other ones, which I think it is. Personally, I think their shakes are pretty good, and they did pretty well up until that scandal came out. So my question is, well, not even a question. It's not about will Micah Hyde help Fostoria reshape itself. The thing is, will Fostoria be able to sustain whatever people are able to put into it? Because at some point, man, I'm going to be honest, there's going to be somebody that comes around and invests into the city. I don't know if they're going to be putting I don't know if they're going to be putting Dave & Buster's or a goddamn B-Dubs in, but
well, another thing
there's
that
going to be somebody that comes along to do it. And what I would say is you would have to you'd almost have to ask yourself what is sustainable to have in a small city like this. Because there's going to be somebody that comes along that tries to do it. But is it sustainable? I don't know.
That's the problem, is we need to have big enough of a population to where, like, yeah, you can start a new business, and initially it'll probably do really well when everyone starts testing it out. But once all the hype of that new place goes away and it just gets average sales, we don't have enough people in Fostoria to keep these businesses up. And that's why another thing that I think, or that they were talking about when there was, ooh, max ammo, nice, max ammo, baby. He was talking about there was that one guy who was going to get the plaza, and he was going to put a bunch of apartments out there, so we could have more people living in Fostoria. I think that could be another good idea, so that we have more people potentially putting money back into the city.
Problem is, which I know I sound like a fucking negative Nance, but it's true. Problem with housing in Fostoria is obviously nobody wants to live here, other than the fact that
that hurts, man, but it's so true.
Like, the only reason, like, you live in Fostoria, why? Either because family lives here, or it's because it's cheap. But, my thing is, the problem with the housing idea is, it's so expensive, especially now, for housing. Like, we have housing in Fostoria, like, by the YMCA, next time you drive by the YMCA, take a look up at the big, like, buildings that are up there. They're renovating, the upstairs interiors of some of these buildings. And the reason why is for housing. Problem is, those houses, just like the houses now, and the apartments now, they're going to be so expensive. And that's just because real estate in and of itself is so expensive right now. And so, what I think is, what we need, dude, what we absolutely need is a restaurant. I think that we need a restaurant, and we also need an activity center. Now,
hear me out. Hear me out. Do you want to say Fostoria? I just need to say 3 words. 3 words, okay? You want to say Fostoria? Wilson Sandwich Shop.
Yeah.
You knew that was coming. Oh, come on, man. We need one of those here.
I have an idea, and I don't know how crazy it is, but
let me hear it.
When we go to eat out, typically, because me and you haven't ate now, like, sat down somewhere in a while. Where do we go? We go
Texas Roadhouse most of the time, or B-Dubs.
Or B-Dubs, right?
Yeah.
Now, they're both interesting selections. I'm not going to sit here and tell you we need a Texas Roadhouse. Because personally, I don't like Texas Roadhouse that much, but I like the appeal. I like sitting down at Texas Roadhouse and eating. I don't know. It's just not for me. I'm more of a B-Dubs type of guy. I don't know why. But that wouldn't be a bad idea. And it wouldn't be a bad idea for the same reason that B-Dubs would be a bad idea. When we go to B-Dubs, what do we always think of when we go to B-Dubs?
Hot girls.
I hope it's not Pat. well, I mean, it's Finley. You really can't go. Anyway, and B-Dubs, which I'm going to say Fostoria, because when we're at Fostoria, we have the option of Finley and Tiffin. But usually when we go to B-Dubs, it's after work. So we're already in Finley. We're not going to go to Tiffin. But when you're in Fostoria, right? If somebody says Buffalo Wild Wings, what do you think?
You think either Tiffin or Finley.
Tiffin or Finley, right? Now, what if I were to tell you that Buffalo Wild Wings in both those cities would be packed? Why would they be packed? Because of big cities, obviously. So, if you try to go to Tiffin and it's packed, you're like, oh man, it sucks, but we're going to have to eat here anyway. Try to go to Finley and it's packed, like, same thing. Oh man, it sucks, but we're going to have to eat here. But, what if there were one in Fostoria?
And yes, that's the thing is, if we had a B-Dubs in Fostoria, not only would we get Fostoria customers, but we would be able to poach some people from Tiffin or Finley. Why? Because what are they going to think? Oh, if we go to the B-Dubs in Fostoria, it's not going to be as busy. We'll get our food quicker. We'll get out of there quicker.
Exactly. And not only will you get them from Finley, it's perfect, because both B-Dubs, we'd be in the middle of them. We'd be in the middle.
Yep.
We would literally be in the middle of both of them. So you get people from, oh man, I don't want to go to Tiffin's B-Dubs. Australia's right in the middle from here, and all I got to do is go through Arcadia. From Tiffin, be like, oh man, I don't want to go to Finley's, but I can go to Fostoria's. It's all I got to do is pass through Bascom. That's it. Now, absolutely crazy. You'll have a trifecta. Why? Rising Sun. You're going to have a lot of people say, oh man, I don't want to go to B-Dubs. All I got to do is go right up the road, dude. We'd be seeing Perry every weekend. Every single weekend. Like, you would have people go from Rising Sun, from Finley, from Tiffin, all go to the plaza to eat B-Dubs. All. Now, here's another one. Texas Roadhouse. Right now, we don't have this thing with Texas Roadhouse. Why? because of the fact that there isn't another Texas Roadhouse around here, unless you want to go all the way up to Toledo. So it's a double-edged sword, because you either A, establish another Texas Roadhouse here, which would make the beat-up situation that we have now, like, oh man, do I want to go to Fostoria's Texas Roadhouse or do I want to Finley's? Fostoria's is closer. And so you would have that too, but is Texas Roadhouse as appealing as Buffalo Wild Wings? Because to me, Texas Roadhouse isn't a sports bar; it's more of a restaurant. So I don't know.
But that's where it would be good for us to have both, so that way, if you ever wanted a night where you could sit down with your family and have a big serious meal as one, you would have that Texas Roadhouse. And then if you wanted to just go out, have a couple of drinks, get some chicken strips and fries, and watch the baseball game, you can go to Beat Ups. Yeah, they'd be competing with each other, and Fostoria is a small city, but you could get people from outer cities to go there because they know there'd be less people there.
Honestly, something I just thought of is maybe put one out at the venue and put one out at the plaza. You definitely have the space at the venue to do it.
And then could you imagine if they redid Seneca Lanes and made that look better again, and then you leave B-dubs, you just had a whole bunch of good food, and oh man, we need something to do. There's a bowling alley 30 yards away? Dude, come on.
It would be pretty good. That's what you should do.
Yeah, if you could get that bowling alley and then... Oh, yeah.
Just put Roadhouse on maybe a venue or at the plaza, and then put Buffalo on either or. That'd be pretty good.
We need to
right in the middle of the
seriously look and ask people around and see how much this would cost, to see if we can potentially get some business around this and see if we can get someone to invest in this.
Yeah, because
I fucking didn't make the trap.
Yeah, it would be awesome if you'd have them both at the fucking plaza, but I feel like if you had them split up, man, it would be incredible. It would be a lot better, honestly. You have to think about which one you... Honestly, dude, I would have Buffalo Wild Wings at Venue 18. The reason why I say that is because it's a lot closer to both Finley and Tiffin than it would be out of the plaza, because they'd have to drive through Fostoria and then all the way down to the plaza. Then I'd have Texas Roadhouse cut up the plaza, because if you don't want to go to Finley from Tiffin, then you come all the way down to the plaza. And if Finley's is too packed, then you definitely come to Fostoria and come all the way down to the plaza.
And then another thing we got to think about is, if you get some of the plaza, you just go out back behind the plaza, you got a really nice Ford dealership. Probably go see some nice Mustangs.
Let's keep it serious. Anyway, honestly, dude, do you know what could set the city off? How many kids live in this city? I would say probably a lot, right? I mean, a huge amount.
Decent amount, yeah.
What if we had a fucking Sky Zone, dude? What if we had a Sky Zone?
We need something that a lot of kids can
Big
do
ass
that's not the
trampoline
YMCA.
park. Hey, I was thinking Kalahari, but Kalahari is way too hard.
Yeah.
The good thing about Kalahari, though, is, we would be able to do it. Wow. I didn't think about that, dude. We don't have a pool.
Not anymore, no.
You could seriously get people behind a fucking Kalahari or some type of theme park here. Not a big ass theme park, but think about it. St. Wendell's gone. They want to have the St. Wendell Festival. Can't have the St. Wendell Festival. What if you had? And I'm not talking about an outdoor theme park. I'm talking about legit. Maybe you can go to Kalahari. Because think about it, dude. We don't have a pool. We don't have a pool.
That's another thing we could do. We could completely get rid of that pool and we can build something there too. Because that's also wasted space that's not getting used.
I honestly think you might be able to build you a small smaller version of Kalahari, because obviously, I don't know where Kalahari is. Is it like in fucking
Don't ask me.
Bowling
I have
Green or
no
something
idea.
like that?
But yeah, that's
I
the
don't
thing.
even know
like,
if it's the one-off either.
we could have 3 big-time building additions put in the city.
It's in Sandusky. But my thing is, you could have. Let me start writing this shit down, bro. I'm cooking like Russ now, bro. Hold on.
Yeah, put this in like your notes or something, man, because we're hitting some good shit right now. I love you. Can you go over there, please? I kind of threw the monkey so you would. Am I gonna get warded? Alright, 205.
I'm starting to think this whole place. That's it, man. Please don't get up again. You're embarrassing.
Not dead. Not dead? Go.
Which one of you kid beats wants to go first? What do you think? Run this time? It's all charged up.
Oh, he didn't lock it. I thought he did. Oops. Did that for no reason.
Here's the wind-up.
But yeah, honestly, dude, you get B-Dubs out at Venue 18. You get Texas Roadhouse out at the Plaza. You get Kalahari. Or, no, I know it sounds funny to say Kalahari, but you get a water park. Not just a pool, dude. I'm talking like an indoor water park. At maybe the pool area. You get maybe a laser tag or something like that facility at St. Wendell. Because I know one of the biggest things about, I guess, like the plaza was, well, we need a Walmart. We need a Walmart. It's like, I get it, but which it wouldn't be bad to have a Walmart, but do you really think Walmart's going to be sustainable? Like Kmart shut down the plaza, right? Like, I don't know if Walmart's going to be sustainable.
I think it would be more beneficial for us to have a big-time restaurant or bar compared to having a market.
You don't walk into having your city like expand with a Walmart. That should never be your first step. Because if you do that, then you're just asking for a problem.
Especially with Amazon right now, like all the fucking malls and markets are closing down. A Walmart 20 years ago, yeah, maybe it would have been perfect to put out there. But guess what? That's why Kmart was sustainable. Once Amazon started taking off and things went online, we couldn't afford to keep a Kmart anymore. So it makes us think that if we get a Walmart, anything will change.
It won't. Well, I'm not going to say it won't. Walmart's used a lot, but it's just like,
There's better things we can get.
You need something that's going to be sustainable for a long time to come, and that's not going to be Walmart. You need something like a food or service or something like that that's going to be sustainable for a while.
I'm over it.
Like, we need a big-time sports bar that people can go to on the weekends. Because, like, I go up to watch Browns games all the time. What do we have? The Eagles? Our bar? That's all we fucking have. Like, could you imagine if every Saturday night, you, me, Dylan, all of our buds, our parents, our friends, cousins, we could all go out and just chill at B-Dubs and all watch the Ohio State game? Go out to B-Dubs at 10:30 at night, watch the Clippers versus the Cavs? We need to figure out how much that would cost. Let's go to Google. How much does it cost to build a B-Dubs? Google knows the answer to everything. Dude, another thing we could do, we could put in a Chick-fil-A over here.
What?
You know what we need to fucking do? We need to just cut Arby's. Get that shit out of here and replace that with a Chick-fil-A. Who the fuck goes to Arby's, bro?
Wow.
You can expect the investment range for this chicken wing place to be around $2.5 million to $4.6 million, and the franchise fee is $25,000. To begin franchising, you'll need a liquid capital of $750,000 and a net worth of $1.5 million.
Chump change.
You know what? We need $1.5 million net worth. Micah Hyde net worth.
Oh fuck.
As of January 9th, 2023, Micah Hyde's net worth is $5 million. So a fifth of what Micah's worth is what it would cost to get a B-dubs out there.
He'd never
And
do that.
we could give him a hometown discount. And that's just what he's making now. He could get another contract extension.
How old is he, like 30?
Around there, somewhere, yeah.
Might be on his way out. As shitty as it sounds. Well, I guess Von Miller still plays, so maybe yes.
He's a Von's a pass rusher. I mean, if you're playing as a safety, you're not really getting hit as much as like a linebacker or a defensive lineman. But I don't know, with his neck injury, might have completely changed things. But yeah, we have no idea what Micah's plans are going to be when he retires. He might never want to come back to Fostoria again. But maybe he will. Or we can tell Don Miller to get off his ass and do something for the city.
I think Don Miller lives in Florida anymore.
We can go into work on Wednesday and tell Marshall we have an investment opportunity. We want him to invest in us. Go up to him and say, hey, didn't we just get $7 million from Germany? Can we invest that in a B-dubs for Fostoria? Go up to him and say, hey, if this new film trial we're running on Line 5 goes well, you think we can maybe get a B-dubs in Fostoria? And it's Texas Roadhouse. Like,
Marshall might actually look at you and tell you to kill yourself.
I'm gonna go drive you up to urgent care. We're gonna get you a drug test. It'd be so funny. Even funny if you do it to Eric.
I've heard Eric is actually like pretty chill. I've heard he's like chiller than Marshall for, which
Eric's
is crazy
so
because
cool.
he's higher, because he's a lot higher than Marshall is.
He walked in the break room one day and I was sitting there and he started talking to me about Deshaun Watson. Because it was back when I would take my lunch pail to work every day, so I had my Browns one sitting there. He was like, how do you feel about Watson? I was like, man, I don't know. He was like, I know how it he said, I know how it feels. I'm a hopeless Lions fan. So Eric's a Lions fan, confirmed. It's probably why he's so laid back. If that's your favorite football team, not really much of a point to care in life, might as well just relax, you know? When Jared Goff's your quarterback, you're not really going anywhere. The Lions have always been so bad, dude. I mean, I don't really have much room to talk.
The Lions seem to have a very good. They do a very good job at forcing some of the best players of all time into early retirement.
They do have some pieces. They had a pretty good streak last year. They did pretty good, so we'll have to see what they can do. But with Jared Goff, man, I just don't. They're not going anywhere with Jared Goff. I don't know where they pick in the draft.
With that hot streak, they're probably like number 8.
Dylan must have just started coming in here. Dylan just hit the chat and said, why the fuck would you trade Hawkinson? That's what the Lions did. That, I don't understand why they did. A few years ago, they drafted a tight end, like number 8 overall. And he's really good. They traded him for like a 3rd round pick. And it was to a division rival, to the Vikings. Like, why would you do that?
If they'd have kept Hawkinson, they might have made the fucking playoffs this year.
All of Detroit's like managers for every professional team must be like high on fucking baboon butt crack because they just are all fucking dog shit. They're all terrible.
Like, dude, the Tigers, Pistons, Red Wings, and Lions. You know it's bad when even a Cleveland fan is saying, "Wow, you're pretty rough city."
Bro, I'm a Clippers and Titans fan, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but those are
that gives me
different
hope.
cities.
I
Like,
know,
could
but
you
that still gives
imagine-
me hope, bro. Because like, you got Tennessee, bro. Like that's an entire state. That's not just one city, bro. Like, what else does Tennessee have? What else does Tennessee have?
That's really it.
They
They
got
just
hit.
have the Titans.
They just have the Titans. That's it. That's it. And they have more hope than any Detroit team, bro. That's so fucked. That is so fucked. Dan Campbell, I don't know. I don't think he's a bad head coach. I don't know if he's able to treat the Lions well. Because I mean, yeah, you can get a hot streak and play it in your season, but I mean, it doesn't matter if it's late in your fucking season when you're not able to make.
Well,
a play.
another big problem that the Lions have had for the last 15 years is Aaron Rodgers is in their division, so they almost never have a chance to win their division because the Packers are winning it every time.
Fuck, who knows? Maybe he goes to the fucking Lions. They get rid of
No,
Jared
he's not.
Goff.
They can't because Jared Goff makes too much money.
Oh, that slimy motherfucker. He's not worth a fucking cent. That piece of shit.
They really have, but I don't know what the Packers are going to do with Aaron Rodgers, man. I feel like you might as well just fucking trade him. Get whatever you can for him. It's time.
I mean, what we don't have anything really there for him. I mean, he's pretty much been waiting. He's like, you know what it reminds me of? Aaron Rodgers at the Packers for as long as he's been there almost reminds me exactly of Matthew Stafford at the Lions, because it's like he's an incredible quarterback, absolutely amazing, but everybody always gives him shit because he's staying in the same place. And I truly think that if Aaron Rodgers just left, just had that opportunity to go somewhere else, I truly think he'd shine. I think he'd be top 3 quarterback easily.
Well,
But
the problem that Rodgers
where's he
has
gonna go?
is he's under contract for the next like 2 years, and these 2 years are probably all he's going to have left in his career, and then he retires. He's under contract, so he can't go anywhere unless the Packers trade him. And do you know how hard it would be to trade Aaron Rodgers? You have Aaron Rodgers, you're going to trade him? That's got to suck. But at the same time,
Well,
they drafted Jordan Love like 3 years ago. Dude's never played a game.
I think one of the biggest things that they've done, that he's done, is I don't think Aaron Rodgers gives that much thought about winning. I mean, like, everybody wants to win, right? But if you're playing for a shit-stained team, and you continuously keep signing like contracts that are going to extend your sentence to that fucking eternity, it's like you don't give a fuck about winning, bro. You're pretty much just setting up for job security. You're just collecting the money. You're collecting the check. Because if you really did care, you'd let that shit expire and you'd try to fucking win. So he probably just doesn't really give a fuck that much at this point. He's probably just like, fuck it, this is where I'm still, I'm just going to be getting paid a bunch of money.
Well, the thing is, for every player, when they are in contract extensions, the way the rules are set up is the current team because they want to incentivize star players to stay with their team. So the team that you're currently on can offer you more money than any other team. So naturally, people will try and re-sign with their team because that team can give them more money than any other team.
I don't know if he'd even want to go anywhere. Because everybody always, well, you look really good in fucking Steelers yellow. He's not.
But the thing is, he can't pick where he goes. He's under contract. The only way he goes anywhere is if the Packers trade him and a team gives up assets for him.
Well,
That's why really the only team you've heard
they
him...
wouldn't trade him because, I mean, who the fuck would they have? Who would they have?
They'd have,
A starter that hasn't started the fucking game.
but at the same time, they traded up into the first round. They drafted Jordan Love in the first round. Never played him, ever. You got to at least see what you got for him. Or they could trade Aaron Rodgers for their next quarterback. Like the Colts. The Colts have the 4th pick in the draft. They haven't had a good quarterback since Luck retired in like 2018. They've just been fluctuating with different ones. Maybe you could convince them to take Aaron Rodgers for the 4th overall pick, and then when you have that number 4 pick, you can take one of the young quarterbacks in this draft.
Oh,
Now, if I was the Colts, I personally wouldn't do that, but you got to call. You got to see what's available, see what's out there.
It sucks because he's such an incredible fucking quarterback. Or not. I mean, you really do it to yourself, to be completely honest. Because I don't know, like, I'm not being offered millions of dollars, but it's got to be incredibly hard to just be fucking, to know that when you start the season, you're not going to the Super Bowl. Like, that's gotta fucking suck. Like, it's gotta suck to know that, like, all right, well, let's just go out here and get this first loss over with. Like, that's gotta suck. Man, that has to suck. That has to suck. Even if you are getting paid millions of dollars, because like you're not just playing in front of people, you're playing in front of the world. Dude. Like that's televised. So you get your ass beat, bro. You're getting your ass beat on live TV, bro. And man, that has to fucking. That just I don't know. That would just make me feel so fucking shitty all the time. Knowing that I don't have a fighting chance.
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, you can't control where you get drafted to.
Well, I know that, but I'm talking about like in Aaron Rodgers' case. If he really wanted to, he could leave and not just sign all these fucking extensions. But he just.
But that's the thing is, the Packers have always had a good team. They just haven't won a Super Bowl. They always choke in the playoffs. Like, Aaron Rodgers has lost in the NFC Championship, the game right before the Super Bowl. He's lost that game like 4 times in the last 9 years. They have good teams. They just fucking choke. They can't win those big games. It's not like the Packers go into the year saying, oh, well, here we fucking go again. We have a good quarterback, but nothing else. No, they've had good teams. They just can't put it... It's hard to win a Super Bowl. It's hard to win a Super Bowl. They just haven't been able to do it. They've had the talent. They've had the pieces. Just couldn't get it done.
I don't know. What? Has he only been to one fucking Super Bowl?
Yes.
Or like 2?
He's been to one Super Bowl. It was one of his first years in the league, like 2009. That's when he went to the Super Bowl. Hasn't been to one since. I remember it so well because he beat the Steelers, and I was so fucking happy. Remember watching that game? One of the first Super Bowls I ever watched.
It's going to be really hard for people coming up soon. It's going to be really hard for a lot of the old heads to go to the Super Bowl because all these new quarterbacks are incredible now. But it's going to be incredibly hard for a lot of new teams to form and thrive because of all the dynasties you have now. I mean, like, think about it. You had, well, obviously one just fell with Tampa because Tom Brady retired, but you had Tampa. You still have the Chiefs. Now you have the Bengals. Now you have the Bills. If Tua didn't get a fucking aneurysm, you might have had Miami start up a really good fucking franchise. But
Miami might trade for Aaron. They need to do something because they have to do something because Tua's not gonna fucking last. That's what I talk with Trevor about all the time. Dude, you need to do something.
I honestly feel like Jacoby Brissett might go to Miami. He's proven that he can be a starter.
But Brissett was already in Miami. They got rid of him to get Tua. I don't know if he'd want to go back. And the thing is, the Dolphins can't get a quarterback this year because they don't have a first-round pick. Got taken away. Dirty cheaters.
What other choice do you have? Who else are you going to get? Well, I mean, there's other people you can get, but the problem is Jacoby Brissett's a really good option, mainly because he's shown that he can be a starter, and you're really not going to have to pay him a bunch of money like you would somebody that's already established that just isn't signed.
Ooh, nice dog round.
But no matter what, you're not going to be able to play with a quarterback that is going to have to be looked on every single hour to make sure that he's still breathing. You're not going to be able to. That's not going to be able to be your starter. There's no way.
Maybe the Dolphins will try and trade for Lamar Jackson.
Oh, I just see him. I just see him re-signing with them. I don't know why. I can't imagine Lamar Jackson fucking leaving again. Or leaving with anybody. I just can't imagine it. I can't imagine. I just feel like Baltimore is gonna king.
I mean, if they do, it's gonna fuck their franchise up, dude. How much money he wants? Like, he turned down a contract that was bigger than the one the Browns gave to Sean Watson. Bigger than the one we gave Watson. And he said, no, I want even more.
But I don't well, I do understand it, but like, he's so accident prone, man. Like, I wouldn't feel comfortable. I wouldn't feel comfortable giving anybody, like, here's my argument, right? Like, obviously, he's got an MVP under his belt, so he knows at least, we know that he has a little bit of that dog in him. But the problem is he's not very good at passing the ball, which as a quarterback you really have to be.
Yeah.
And number two, when you're that accident prone, it just makes me not want to spend. Like, it'd be different if you were like a gunslinger or you were pinpoint accuracy. You know what I mean? You just knew what the fuck you were doing. But you got some bumps and bruises here and there. Okay, fine. I might be able to fight. But when you aren't able to do that, and it's easy for you to get hurt, I don't feel like dropping that money on you is worth it. But the problem is, there's 32 teams in the NFL, and the chances of somebody being that desperate are not out of the possible.
Someone is going to give Lamar Jackson the contract that he wants. If the Ravens don't, somebody will, and he knows it. That's why he didn't sign that big contract. But the issue that the Ravens have right now is, ever since they drafted Lamar Jackson, they've built their entire team around him. Like what you just said, Lamar Jackson, he really isn't that good at throwing the football down the field. So what did the Ravens do on offense? They didn't focus too much on their wide receivers. Instead, they got a really, really tough, gritty offensive line, several really good running backs that fit well with Lamar Jackson, and a really good tight end that Jackson can hit on quick throws. They've built their entire offense around him. So you don't really want to move on from him and go to somebody else, because then these last 4 years you've completely wasted. Now you got to start all over again. Like, they traded Marquise Brown, one of the fastest wide receivers in the league. Traded him to the Cardinals. So that way they could get more interior stuff for Lamar. So if you get rid of Lamar, you got to completely redo your entire offense. But if you do pay Lamar, then
you're put in the fucking line for a while.
Yep.
Essentially, it's if you pay Lamar. Sorry, if you don't pay Lamar, you have to start. But if you pay Lamar, you're gonna have to pay everybody. And either way.
If I were the Ravens, I would try and trade him. So I'm telling you, man, the Browns are out here playing chess. The Browns might suck, but at least we fucked up the contracts of all the other quarterbacks. And I'm telling you, dude, they're going to do something to change the way the quarterback salary cap works. Because once Joe Burrow signs his extension, it's going to be ridiculous.
There's no way ever. Here's my problem. You have to. Like, I don't have a thing against quarterbacks. If you lose the game, man. So, with that being said, if you win a game, quarterback, right, the head coach. So, with that being said, the importance. Sorry. the importance of the game falls heavily on the quarterback's shoulders. And
Yeah.
I feel as if you can't look at the quarterback the same way you look at everybody else on the team, which sucks. I know it sounds crazy, but you can't, man, because like you can get by with like a so-so running back. You can get by with that. You can get by with a so-so center. You can get by with a so-so wide receiver. Get by with a so-so tight end. With a so-so quarterback, you can't. You can't. That's your team, dude. That
Especially
is
in
your
this day and age of the NFL.
Yeah, you can't. And so you can't really look at them like everybody else on the team. And another thing is, think about this for a minute, right? That Deshaun Watson blockbuster trade, right? It happened this year. Within the last 365 days, that happened. And you hear
Yeah.
all of these things about all of these guys wanting. What's going to happen if that happened this year? You know, the past 365. What do you think the NFL is going to look like if we keep going down this path in 3 years, in 4 years? Does that mean that everybody that's going to be joining the NFL that gets drafted, the number one draft pick, is going to say, you know what, I want 250 million, I want at least 100 million, I want 50 million?
Well, the thing
Why?
is, if they don't fix the quarterback contract situation soon, then eventually every team is going to have a quarterback that's making $300 million, and quarterback is going to be the only position that you really make any money from in the NFL. And that can also create, like we were talking about in the break room, I don't know when it was, we were like, what I was going to say is it can create a locker room issue, because you have all these big offensive linemen that are protecting their quarterback, making $10 million a year. You have all these wide receivers that are catching the passes that this quarterback throws to, making $15 million a year, and that quarterback's just sitting there making $50 million a year.
My biggest thing is, yeah, I completely agree. And one of the biggest things that a lot of people forget is in the NFL, man, like we don't see it a lot of the time as workers because we work, right? Like we're not competing against the company directly. We don't see that company every day. We don't face off against them. We just focus on our shit and make sure it's right. In the NFL, you see the other team, like the other factory, quote unquote. You know, the other side, you play against them, dude. Think about this. If you know good and goddamn well that your quarterback just got $300 million and 275 of it's guaranteed. Could you imagine the kind of backlash for when they're like, you know what, man? This QB dude, he got 300 million. He got 275 guaranteed. But I'm sick of losing. We don't got shit. We don't got anybody else. We can't afford a good running back. We can't afford a good wide receiver. We can't afford a good center. We can't afford a good tight end. We can't afford good DBs. We can't afford good D linemen. All because this motherfucker's making $300 million a year. I'm sick of losing. I'm sick of
And that's
getting
where
my ass
every
busted.
team is headed. It's where every team's headed.
Yeah, you got to fix that. There's absolutely no way in hell that's
Yeah.
sustainable.
That, I mean, it's been getting worse and worse periodically, but that really got blown open when Patrick Mahomes signed his deal. 12-year, $550 million contracts, giving him $45 million a year. That's when everything opened up.
Yeah, $45 million. Joe Montana's day was a lot of fucking money.
Joe Montana
just
probably
for a year.
didn't-
Like that was.
Let's see what
No.
Joe Montana made in his career. Let me just
He
look up.
probably made like. Well, you gotta, because they're probably gonna have a bunch of endorsements and shit like that. But Joe Montana, a $45 million deal is probably like what, a 5-year deal? You know what I mean? 7-year deal. If you're making that annually, which we're leaving out some shit, right? Like obviously the economy has gone up since
You're
then,
never
which
gonna
means
believe
the
this.
cost of shit goes up. And obviously the amount of talent has gone up too. I mean, we're not gonna sit here and act like Joe Montana straight out of the combine and Mahomes straight out of the combine are the exact same thing. Mahomes blows Montana out of the fucking water. But that I don't know if that warrants a $45 million a year fucking salary. That's insane. How much did Montana make a year roughly?
During his NFL career, Joe Montana earned $25.5 million in total salary. His highest single season earnings was $4 million per year. Keep in mind, Baker Mayfield, when he was drafted first, you know how people always say rookie quarterback deals, rookie contracts, how they're way less expensive?
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield's rookie contract, he made $8 million a year. Twice as much as Joe Montana made in his best earning season ever.
Well, to be fair, he's touted as one of the best college quarterbacks of all time.
Eli Manning.
So that's probably...
Eli Manning had an average salary of $18 million a year. Eli Manning, top 15 quarterback all time. Terry Brad, no, oh wait, that's his.
Oh God!
No, this is his.
$5 a year, fucking TB12, baby, the original.
In his final season, the award-winning quarterback reportedly made $470,000. While for his work for Fox, he is estimated to make $2 million a year. So right now he's making $2 million as a broadcaster, but he made less than $500,000.
Could you imagine saying, "I'm trying to go to the NFL. That's where the money is." The motherfucker's like, "Nah, let me pick up this mic." You probably felt so shitty, bro. I'll make what if I go to Fox? Bro, that's so crazy. But like my biggest problem is I get all these quarterbacks are incredibly talented. I get that. But you really take the team out of it, man, when you are demanding all of this. Because like, what does that do to the chemistry, right? Like,
Yep.
You're not dumb. You know what I mean? You're a quarterback in the NFL. You're not dumb. The only dumb quarterback in the NFL was Steve Young. That motherfucker was retarded. But other than that, like, you're not dumb. You know that, hey, we can only afford so much money. And you're really going to be in the GM's office and say, I don't give a fuck if any of these guys get paid. I want $300 million. I mean, it'd be one thing if it was one dickhead guy. Like if it was fucking Finley's finest Roethlisberger saying
it's a copycat league.
But it's everybody doing that. It's everybody
because
that is
they all
half-assed
think
at
they're the
throwing
best.
the ball. They're all doing it. And it's just, what are you going to do?
And then you also have to think about what happens when these quarterbacks getting paid all this money underperform. Like, look at Russell Wilson right now. Dude's making $44 million a year, and people are showing up to practice. Like, look at, did you watch any of the Broncos games? Halfway through the season, everyone on the team was sick of Russell Wilson's shit. They were like, we're paying this much for this guy. So then in practice, in the locker rooms, they're like, this guy's making $44 million, and nobody else on the team is making more than 15?
It was so bad that random fans started showing up to the fucking Broncos training camp. Try out for fucking quarterback. No, you can't look at that kind of deal and say, you know what, this is gonna have absolutely no profound effects on the NFL. Because it is. I mean, think about it. You cannot sit there and say that every quarterback, like I said, this isn't just one guy being a dick and saying, I want a bunch of money, and if you don't pay me, then we're going to have a problem. That's almost every quarterback in the NFL that's a starter.
And the thing is, it's not going to stop.
And nobody is going to be... One of the biggest problems is, you can't... I don't think, and I think this is a major contributor to this, not enough people are bold enough to say, you're not... Because, like, think about it, right? Why would you want to say that to your starter? They're going to want to leave. They're going to want to leave. But you have to say that to them. You have to.
The quarterback is the most important position in any sport. And that's a fact. That's just how it is. The most important position is quarterback. So you don't, as an owner, you don't really have any bargaining power. Because a quarterback will make what he wants. If you're not going to give your star quarterback what he wants, somebody will. So if you don't, there is no saying, like, the Ravens can't go up to Lamar Jackson and say, you know what, you are a great quarterback, we love you, but we just can't give you this much. We'll cut it down, we'll give you this. You can't do that, because he's either going to take what he wants
or he's going to leave. You cannot talk him down. He has all the power. All the power.
There's no talking about it. And
So,
it's like, that's
when
what
he
you
gets
need,
in
that's
his
what you
head,
need to happen. You need
yeah.
people to say, because one of the biggest reasons why I think that this is happening is nobody, like, think about it. Think about it. Take Lamar Jackson, right? His family? Oh, fuck yeah, they're going to tell him he's worth 300 million. There's families, they love him. His agent? He wants it after payday. He wants more gifts under the Christmas tree for his kids. He's going to say, fuck yeah, you're worth that. You know, all the fans? Doesn't matter. He's not listening to the fans, right?
Yeah.
All the teammates? He doesn't give a fuck because the teammates aren't on the payroll. So who's he really targeting? His friends, his family, his agent. They all want to.
Yeah, they're all going to
So
want him to
there's
get as much as
nobody-
possible.
Right. So there's nobody to bring him back down there. There's nobody to tell him, look, you're not worth that much. Because if there was, he'd cut him off. Because he thinks he's worth that much. But if you had one person to tell this
Fucking
guy,
missed the trap.
if you had one person to tell this guy, no, you're not worth that much money, you need to get back into the lab and start cooking. You might see a lot of these, like you legit, like, think about all the, like, Russell Wilson, like, let him cook moments. All the times he fucking missed a snap, or all the times that he fumbled, and shit like that. Like, if you showed, like, a highlight reel of all the lowlights of these motherfuckers, and gave it to him and wrote on a fucking sticky note, here's why you're not worth 300 million, and pushed it towards him, oh my god. Could you fucking imagine? I would want to be in the fucking locker room when that happens. They would break down, cry, have a fucking fit, but I guarantee you something. They'd be at fucking training camp the next day.
No,
They'd
they
be
wouldn't. You know what?
busting
You know what they
their
would fucking
ass.
do in this day and age? They'd go to the owner and say, "Okay, I'm out of here. I'm demanding a trade," and they wouldn't play.
Yeah, but the problem is, you'd have to have every team do that. If every team did that, it would happen. You would have
But not
so
every
many
team's
people.
gonna do that.
That's the problem. You cannot just say, because here's how we got to this point. Everybody would just shut up and do whatever the fuck TV wants. Okay, fine. Whatever. I'm going to do what you want. And over time, all the big QBs have said, or it's my way or the highway, or I'm leaving. You're going to give me what I want or I'm leaving. You cannot do that. You cannot tell the QB, just like a dog, dude. You cannot let the dog think they're in control 24/7 just because they're like, yeah, I fucking love the dog. But if this motherfucker walks around and tries to bite me at every chance, that motherfucker's got to go. And so, I get it. It's amazing when you win. Everybody loves to win, but you cannot let all these QBs get all of this power and say I'm going to have it this way, or we're not going to work out. You just gotta know when to walk away, because this is how we got to this point. Nobody had the balls, nobody had the gall to say no. You're not worth that. You need to get back into the fucking. And back into the gym, you need to start working out again. You need to stop showing up to fucking parties. You need to stop getting on TV. You need to stop getting on Instagram and bitching. You need to start making yourself worth $300 million fucking dollars. Because if you're not, we're not going to pay you.
But the problem is, you
But
can't
you have no
do
power
that.
to do it. You have no power to do it. But
there's
you
no way
need
to
some
give them
type
the
of
power.
to do it. Because every single fucking time, every single player besides the quarterback, you have the power to do that too. Well, find
Yes.
somebody else. But the quarterback should be no different, because you are a part of that fucking team. You are not the team yourself, dude. It's bullshit. Everybody else should not have to suffer just because that quarterback has his fucking head up his ass 24/7, and nobody has the power to do anything about it. Because what we're gonna do, I guarantee you, people in the 70s thought that something like the Watson thing would never happen. No, we'll never pay somebody $100 million. Guarantee you. If we fix the salary cap, there's just going to be a whole bunch more ways for motherfuckers to break it over time. What you need is a checks and balance system for people to say, you know what, you're not worth that. Sorry, sucks, but it's not going to happen. Because if you fix the salary cap,
incorporate that?
I'm sure there's a way. I'm sure there'd be a way. But I guarantee you, if you just fix the salary cap and bump it up, just think about it. How many times have we bumped the salary cap up anyway? We probably do it every time the fucking economy changes, right?
It gets bumped up. It gets bumped up a little bit every year because, I mean, obviously the NFL makes more and more money every year, and the money the NFL makes from like endorsements and deals and TVs and all that
and it's
gets
still
put
not
back into
enough.
it.
Which I don't know how much they bump it up, but it's still not enough. So what I'm saying is, even if you were to change the way the salary works, you would still have the same problem, because at some point there would just be another ridiculous amount thrown out because of desperation, and people would get on top of that and say, you know what, the center's making $84 million a year. Why am I not making $84 million a year? I'm an incredible center too. Or, oh, this running back's making $54 million a year. Why am I not? It would just continuously happen. You need somebody to be real and say no. Because at some point, you're just wasting money. Think about it. We're just arguing. This entire time, we've just been arguing about, telling them they're not worth it, or telling them, the team would be something. You're wasting money. I mean, think about that, dude. You pay him $300 million instead of $250. That's $50 million. That's $50 million you should be paying a good wide receiver, or a good kicker, or a good running back, or a good linebacker. That could really benefit your team. But if you have absolutely no way to tell that QB, no, I'm not taking this, or we got to get rid of you, or something like that.
The thing is, you can never have a time where you get rid of your quarterback. If you find like the Bengals, they have no choice but to give Joe Burrow whatever he wants. Whatever he wants. The Chargers, once Justin Herbert is eligible for his extension, they have no choice to give him whatever he wants. Because you cannot afford to lose those players. That is the heart and soul of your team. Your quarterback is always the heart and soul. You cannot afford to lose him and start over.
What they should do, an easy way to fix this would be to have the NFL have all teams, and all teams have all players, but mainly the quarterback, sign an agreement where it's purely based on performance. So, for example, at work, obviously we have quality incentives, right? So if a certain percentage of sheets are good, then obviously we get paid more money. So the QBs show up, say, hey, here's the new contract. It's made by the NFL, so yeah, you could bitch about it and try to go to the Eagles, but the Eagles are going to have the same contract. You can try and bitch about it and say the Eagles are fucked up and they go to the 49ers. The 49ers are still going to have the contract. It's not escapable. You don't like it, go to the XFL, USFL. You're going to get paid based on your performance. And your performance is going to be reviewed every time your contract is up. So, and it's not going to be reviewed by us, it's going to be reviewed by, I don't know, fucking NFL officials or something like that. Non-biased NFL officials. As if I even had to fucking say that. And so what they're going to do is they're going to determine how much you're worth. You're almost like auditing a car or a house. They're going to determine how much you'd be worth based on all the revenue that's made off of your name, and how much you perform for the team, and how many games you missed, and how much your passing rating is, and how many touchdowns you've given, and stuff like that. We're going to determine how much you're worth. Then we're going to throw you out a number based on how much those guys have said you are worth. And then we can go around, maybe 10 million above, 10 million below that. But we're sticking to that number. And if you don't like it, sucks. That's what you need to do. You cannot have motherfuckers just think, well, we're just going to give them this much money and hopefully the salary cap fixes itself. Because it's not going to. It's not going to. You're going to continuously have players. What's the second most important running back? You're going to have a bunch of fucking running backs doing the same goddamn thing. And it's not going to stop. Just because we would fix the salary cap, which I get it. I mean, obviously most people would think, well, more money. But more money would equal more money for people that for example, if we made the salary, I don't know what the salary cap for the Ravens is right now. What, 500, 400 million? Like that? I don't fucking know. Say it's 500 million. You bump it up to 800 million. You know what I mean? And more people would feel like 800 million. Hold on. I gotta have a lot more money. I'm pretty important in this fucking team. No, fuck that. What you do is what I said. You have incentives. You have people audit your quarterback every time their fucking thing is up and say, you know what, we think personally Lamar Jackson would be worth based on all the ad revenue he pulls in from all the jersey sales, based on the amount of touchdowns he's thrown and ran this year, based on the passer rating that he has. Yeah, fuck. Anyway, based on the passer rating that he has, based on how many games he's missed, we personally think that it would be around the 260 million mark that you would be worth to the team. And then you show him that and say, look, that's what the professionals think you're rated at. That's what we're going to go on. If you don't like it, no other team's gonna offer you anything else because we've set this out. They've set this out to all 13 of one other fucking team. That's what you need. That's the only way you're going to fix this problem is to tell them how much they're truly worth, and that is it. That's it. It's the only way. Because not everybody is worth the same amount. That's the problem. You can't have Lamar Jackson thinking he's worth the same amount as fucking Joe Burrow, and Joe Burrow thinking he's worth the same amount as Patrick Mahomes, and Patrick Mahomes thinking he's worth the same amount as Tom Brady. You cannot have all these guys thinking they're worth the same just because they sit and play the same fucking position. Because you're not. Your importance is probably the same, yes, but your worth and your role is not. And so that's what you need. You need people to give them that fucking reality check. Here's what you're worth. You do it with the car, you do it with the house. This is no different. It's an investment. Really, it is. Because if it wasn't an investment, you wouldn't be trading it. So there you go. I just fixed your problem. I expect my fucking $1 million by, I don't know, March. There you go.
I would find a way to fuck it up.
Yeah, but it's a lot better than what we have now. It's a lot better than everybody bidding on the highest amount. I mean, we do it in fucking 2K and NFL, dude. We show people have 60, 70, 90 overalls. It'd be no different. Well, it'd be more professional, but you know, frankly, that's what I do. You're worth this amount, and that's what the team's going to pay you. And if you don't like it, no other team's going to pay you that much, because then they can't. Then they don't have the power to say, "Well, I'm just going to go here. I'm just going to go there." You don't. That's the baseline that anybody's going to offer you, dude. That's it. Because that's truly what you're worth. We're not going to have this Russell Wilson escapade and say, "Oh, well, yeah, you're actually worth a lot of money," and then piss the majority of the money we give that contract down the toilet because you're not. There you go. He can't. You just gave the company leverage to tell the quarterback, "Hey, you need to probably get back in the kitchen and start cooking a little bit more." And on top of that, if the quarterback is worth a lot of money, then they will get paid a lot. But if they're not, then they won't. It would clear up a lot of misconceptions. Because let's be honest, dude. The Bengals paying Joe Burrow $300 million is a lot different than the Baltimore Ravens paying Lamar Jackson. One guy might be worth that $300 million. One guy is definitely not. One team might be able to survive if that happens. One definitely will. And so, you know, there you go. You clear up a lot of shit. You know, you get people back down to earth, and you might even be able to get them to turn their shit around. Because it's either that or the US or XFL. And let's be honest, nobody wants to play there.
But then what do you do about all the contracts that have already been signed? Like Deshaun Watson and Mahomes and Josh Allen, all their contracts. What, they just have to void all their contracts that their employers gave them?
You'd have... it'd be no different than any other change to the way contracts work. I mean, you'd have to... They'd be locked in pretty much. I mean, because obviously you guaranteed them all that money. You have a buyout or stuff like that. But other than that, yeah. Because the problem is, if you don't stop that now, all these other contracts are going to be locked in. Think about that. Say they signed Lamar Jackson for $300 million tomorrow, 6-year deal. Well, guess what? There's another one. There's another contract you could have been able to stop, but you didn't.
Well, I mean, could you imagine the backlash if all these NFL players that signed these contracts that their employers thought they were worth all of a sudden had to give them up and have some random person just decide what they were worth? They had no control over the negotiations?
No. You're not understanding. The contracts that are already signed in effect now will stay the same. But we're doing this as, like, assuming it would take effect tomorrow. So we're doing this knowing that all of these contracts that are, like, we're not going to void Patrick Mahomes' contract. Because that's fucked up. I'm not going to tell Patrick Mahomes, hey, you planned on redoing your fucking basement for $46 million. That's not going to happen because we decided to... I'm not going to do that. All contracts that are alive and well now are going to stay. But when they're done, when those contracts are up, this will take effect. I'm not going to spring this on everyone, but it needs to be done, dude. Because there's no other way you can tell quarterbacks to shut the fuck up and start doing your job.
Well, you would have to do them all at once. You can't wait for each individual contract to expire.
Sure you could.
I mean, how is it fair to have one quarterback now, like Joe Burrow? He's still on his rookie deal. He hasn't had time to get his massive extension like Patrick Mahomes. So you're going to say, oh, Joe Burrow, you have to... Is that the end of the rounds?
Oh my god, it is. I'm on the next round. That made me forget what I was saying. I'm not gonna lie.
Sure, it would be fair, because if Joe Burrow is worth $250 million, that's a huge step up from where he is now.
But Patrick Mahomes' contract right now, he would have had the power to negotiate that. You're going to say Joe Burrow is going to have just some random NFL evaluator say, this is how much you're worth and my say is final. Well, Patrick Mahomes is able to make $50 million for the next 10 years because he signed his contract 1 year sooner.
Well, yeah, you can't go back and retroactively change contracts that are already signed. That'd be fucked up. I mean, that's just like, could you imagine if we went back and changed Deshaun Watson's deal? You'd probably kill him still. You can't, no, I'm not going to do that. And it sucks, but it has to happen. There's no other way you can do it. Because, like, think about this. Let me flip this on its head. Say we do fix the salary cap. Well, how many people do you think are going to be asking for $300 million deals? A lot more than there are now. There are a lot of people doing it now. This is the only way I see us fixing this, is you literally show people what they're worth. And it wouldn't just be one guy. It'd be an entire group of analysts showing you. And every team would do this. An entire NFL is not going to have a week to do this. No. That's too messy. You're going to have teams do this whenever their quarterback's contract is up. And maybe if you want to do it for everybody on the roster, okay, fine. Do it for everybody on the fucking roster. But you do it, and it's just like you would release it at the same time. So, for example, like, I don't know how many people are on the roster. Say 50 people are on the roster. Okay. So, obviously, there's 365 days a year. So you start off with however, I don't know. Let's say there's, because I don't know how long all these fucking contracts are. But like, let's say that one guy's contract is ending this year. So you start off with him, obviously, since his is ending the soonest, and then obviously you'd go back. You finish on the person that has the contract ending very far away, on a faraway date. So Patrick Mahomes would be at the very bottom of the list to evaluate. But obviously you'd have plenty of time to evaluate him. But yeah, it would be completely fair to have Joe Burrow be a part of this, because you can't help that he didn't get into the NFL after Patrick Mahomes. Nobody can help that. I mean, that's just the way it is. And honestly, because if we don't do this, if we don't pull them down to reality, all you're gonna see is motherfuckers ruining the franchise. Like, could you imagine if the Browns franchise was ruined forever because Deshaun Watson got a $600 million fucking bonus because they were too desperate to let him go 5 years from now? Like, no. I don't think that's the best thing to do. I think that what we need to do is rate people. Let me ask you something. If you think you're worth $300 million and let your entire team sink or swim, fuck them. You know, I'm gonna be making a lot more than all of them. Then yeah, I think this is incredibly fair to do. If you're willing to say, oh yeah, I need to be paid at least $300 million because I'm worth a lot more than all these other people. I don't give a fuck if we don't win. I want my money. Then yeah, you kind of deserve this to happen. And which I don't even think it's a bad thing. I think it's just reality checker. It truly is. It's just something to pull people into reality and say, hey, you're not worth $300 million. Sorry, you're not worth $250 million. Sorry. I mean, it's not only is it a good financial move for all of the team, because the team's not going to have to fucking suffer because they decided to spend $300 million on QB that had his head up his ass. But it's also very good for the staff too, because now the staff doesn't have to worry about, are we going to be able to get a running back or a wide receiver? Are we going to be able to get a backup? Oh no, we are, because we're not going to offer him $300 million because we know what he's truly worth. And if he doesn't like it, too bad, because everybody knows it.
That's part of the league. You have to negotiate contracts, trying to figure out where you want to go heavy and where you want to go little. Every sport's like that. You can't get superstars at every single position. You have to pick and choose what you want. That's where you have to balance your roster.
Yeah, but you're not going to be able to balance your roster with giving one guy the majority of your salary. You're not going to be able to balance the roster. It's going to be fucking lopsided. Like, at that point, you'd just be banking on everybody else to step up and do incredible because you're paying one guy big bucks.
Well, let me put it to you this way.
Having a lopsided ass roster.
if every single team has that lopsided roster, then does anybody have a lopsided roster?
Yeah,
If we get
because-
to the point to where every single
Yeah.
team is like that, then
yeah, there'd be lopsided rosters because just because you have, essentially, yes, you would have teams that are better than others. Why? Because are we really going to say Lamar Jackson being the only player that's making $300 million on that team is the exact same thing as Patrick Mahomes? No, Patrick Mahomes would smoke him. So yeah, there are teams that are going to be better than others. Because
there's always going to be teams
healthy
that are better
Patrick-
than others in sports. No team is
Yeah,
they're all going to
but
be
it's
exactly the
going to
same.
be- yeah, but there's going to be a lopsided roster because of the fact that Patrick Mahomes would smoke Lamar Jackson. He'd smoke him. Undoubtedly, he'd smoke him. So it's not like these guys are playing on the same level because Patrick Mahomes is able to actually pass the fucking ball and he's able to scramble too. So yeah, not every team would be set up the exact same. You'd still have people that are better than others. So it'd be no different. The only difference is you're stopping everybody from saying I'm worth most of our salary. That's it. That's the only thing you're doing. That's the only thing you're doing.
But that's how it is. That's why these quarterbacks are making so much money. Because they're the most important pieces on their team.
Yeah, but not everybody is as important as not everybody is worth $300 million. And you have to tell the ones that aren't that they aren't. And you have to tell the ones that are that they are. I'm sorry, but I'm coming from the perspective of if I don't think you're worth $300 million, I'm not going to pay you $300 million just because you feel like you're worth $300 million. Sorry. I get that you're an incredible part of this team, but I'm not going to sit here and act like Jared Goff is worth $300 million just because he plays the same position as Patrick Mahomes. Sorry. It's not going to happen.
What not every quarterback is going to be that valuable. That's like you're not going to see Jared Goff sitting out saying, "Oh, I need $300 million or I'm not going to play." But that's what all these big quarterbacks are going to do because they are good enough.
Yeah, but all these big quarterbacks are not the exact same. Are not on the exact same level. Like, yeah, they can get compared a lot, but there's no reason in hell that Lamar Jackson is asking for $300 million. Because honestly, I don't even know if he's better than Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson only got $250. That's an extra $50 million that they're just losing out on if they re-sign him. No, I don't think he's worth that much. Now, if we want to talk about Patrick Mahomes doing that, that's a different story.
Just because the Ravens don't think he's worth that doesn't mean some other teams don't. There's a team out there that would pay $300 million for Watson or for Jackson. Not because they think not because he wants that, but because they think he's worth that to their team. Like the Miami Dolphins. They have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, two of the fastest wide receivers in the league. You can just hit quick underneath passes, and they can take it all the way. Would they pay $300 million for a mobile quarterback like Lamar Jackson that can extend plays and give them more time to run around? Hell yeah, they would. Hell yeah.
Yeah, if he's able to play any of those fucking games.
That's
The guy
a
just
risk
sat
you
out
got
half
to
the
take.
fucking season.
Any quarterback can be a risk hazard. One play is all it takes, and that quarterback could never play again.
Yeah, but I still think that it's a lot better of an idea to show people what they're actually fucking like. Instead of just taking a huge guess. Like, yeah, I get it, it's a part of the game, but that's part of the reason why you have all these fucking teams that are just absolutely shit. Is because you have all these teams investing in all these guys just because it's a Hail Mary shot in the dark, but that's our only choice, so that's it. Whereas if you had somebody to tell you, hey, this guy's actually not worth that much because we've shown that he's not very good at all. And could you imagine if for a second that the Broncos had all of this ability to see that if Russell Wilson was not that good? No fucking way they would have signed his ass. There's no way. But they were just desperate, so they did.
No, they weren't desperate. They thought he was good enough. That's the thing. Sometimes you're just off on predictions. Sometimes you're just off. You think a player's worth something, and then they're really not.
Predictions, but yeah, you're right. Sometimes you're off on predictions, but that doesn't mean that just because you're off on predictions sometimes means that we're able to justify quarterbacks that are incredibly unreliable that get paid lump sums of money just because they play the most important position.
I mean, you can think someone's worth it, and then the next year think that they're not. That's like this could be the last Super Bowl Patrick Mahomes ever wins. Or let's go to Joe Burrow. or no, Josh Allen, because he's already gotten his extension. Josh Allen got a really big extension. He's done really good these few years. You ask any Bills fan right now, is Josh Allen's contract worth it? They'll say, yeah, he's worth it. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Let's say 4 years from now, Josh Allen just gets worse every year. And then you could say, oh no, that contract was horrible. Well, when he first signed it, you thought it was amazing. That's why you gave it to him.
Yeah,
That's the thing.
why
When you
evaluating him after his contract's over.
when you give players 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 million or 10-year deals, you don't know how good they're going to be later down the line. So you can think at the time, yeah, you're giving them a great deal, and then it gets worse and worse and worse, and you can't negotiate it or change it when they're in the middle of that contract.
Would you feel good about? Would you feel better about giving a contract a $10 million deal if you absolutely knew nothing about how much they're worth, versus if you absolutely knew everything that they'd be worth? I feel a lot better knowing what they're worth.
But you do know what they're worth before you see them. That's what the GMs get paid to do. They scout the quarterbacks and see, okay, we think you're worth this, and then they use that in their negotiations.
Yeah, but you'd have an entire group of people showing you not only what are GMs doing. They're probably just looking at the day-to-day fucking tape of what they did or their highlights and shit like that. I'm talking about over a long time, 4-year deal, 4 years, average deal, 4 years. You have an entire group of people dedicated to not only their on-field approach, but also their sales, their injuries, their accuracy, looking at all of those things over that 4-year period and saying, we think he's worth this much.
But that's what they have now. It's not just the GM that looks at him and says, "Oh, I think this is what we're worth." He talks to the head coach and the quarterback's coach and the offensive coordinator and the owner.
If that were the case, then you wouldn't be having all of these people signing these big ass deals. You'd have people saying, "Oh no, you're not worth this much." But everybody's caving because they have absolutely no leverage, mainly because of the fact that nobody has the balls to say, "Oh yeah, you know what? You're not worth that much." You need basic human emotion. You need somebody to bring you back down to earth and tell you, no, you are not worth that much. Because when you don't, all that happens is you're going to go off the fucking rails and there's going to be nobody to bring you back. Nobody. It's not going to happen. Nobody's going to be able to bring you back. So,
Dylan, you can't spam the same thing over and over. Bro just got timed out for 600 seconds because he'll like spam the same emoji over and over. You can't do that on here.
If you want to, essentially, like, if you want to tell people, because that's the biggest problem right now, is all of these quarterbacks think that they're worth all of this fucking money, mainly because of the fact that they play the most important position. When, in all reality, Tua is not the same as Derek Carr. Derek Carr is not the same as Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield's not the same as Tom Brady, but they all play Tom Brady's position. So, pay me that much money. No. I'm sorry, bro. No, I'm not paying you that much money just because you play the same position as Tom Brady. Yeah, I get it. Risk assessment and management has to be a part of the game, but you also have to be able to tell these people, no, you're not worth this amount of money, and here's why. Because when you don't, all you're doing is opening the doors for more ridiculous-ass deals to come out. Because think about it, dude. Nobody thought that Patrick Mahomes would be getting a crazy deal like that in a million years. Is it worth it? Fuck yeah, I think it's worth it. But nobody thought that was going to happen, right? Just like nobody thought Sean Watson would be getting that incredible deal, either. Nobody thought it. Was it worth it? No, I'm not a Browns fan. We have to wait and see it until he plays an entire fucking season of football. But what I will say is, if we don't have a system going forward to tell people, no, you're not able to, and no matter how pissed you are about it, you're not going to be able to go to another team and finagle a better price, because we all know what you're worth truly.
But not every team is going to have the same worth on a player. Like, the Ravens could think Lamar Jackson is worth this much, but the Browns could think he's worth this much, and the Packers think he's worth this much. Like, you're acting like all 32 teams will be in unison agreement that they're like, yes, this person right here, yes, he is worth exactly this much. Nobody's going to pay him more. No one's going to pay him less. We'll all do this. We all agree.
Yeah, but if you're so hard set on $300 million, there's going to be a team that caves and gives him $300 million, and the guy's not worth it. And that's the problem. You cannot be able to.
Just because you don't think he's worth it doesn't mean a team doesn't. Like the Ravens, they might not think he's worth it, but somebody out there does. That's like I said, it's not because that's what he wants. It's because they think he deserves that. They would not give him that contract if they didn't think he deserved it.
Nah, there's no way. This is the reason why you have teams that are terrible. This is the reason why you have teams that they're never going to win the Super Bowl. Is because of the fact that it literally just adds fuel to the fire. Say you have a terrible GM, Jerry Jones, for example. This is why the Cowboys are one of the biggest fucking laughing stocks. Is because of the fact that you have terrible owners, you have terrible GMs that do not assess good risks, and they always take terrible fucking options. Versus if you had somebody to just tell you, hey, this guy's actually not very good at all, and here's what he's worth. He could be conning you for twice what he's worth, and you'd fall for it just because you need a QB. Personally, dude, I think that's fucked up. I think it's fucked up, personally, for a motherfucker that's not worth any money at all to go on a team and tell everybody, hey, I know all you guys want to go to the Super Bowl or go to the playoffs, but fuck you, we're not going because I want $300 million. When
any quarterback that's good enough to play in the NFL and start in the NFL is worth a lot of money. That's a fact. There is no quarterbacks in the NFL that aren't worth any money. They're all there because they are some of the best in the world at the most important
There's
position.
a huge difference between being worth a lot of money and then being worth 75% of the salary cap that you have. Huge difference. Incredibly huge difference. There's a huge difference between I'm worth a lot of money and I'm worth so much money that good luck finding a 5-star quarterback outside of the fucking draft. Huge difference. Incredibly huge difference. And that's what I have a problem with, is all of these fucking people saying, well, he got a good deal, you're not him, dude. You are not him.
But the problem is they all think they're better. They carry themselves with that confidence because they're some of the best at what they do. That's like, go up to most of the operators at PMC. Go up to Tim. Go up to Chad. They'll probably all say that they think they're one of the best. And it could be true. They're all better in their own ways.
Yeah, and what do we have every single year? Yearly reviews. Yearly reviews. Every single year we tell all of them, you're worth this much money, you're worth that much money, you got this much of a raise, you got that much of a raise.
Yes, now could you imagine could you imagine if we had that and then at the exact same time you had 31 other companies sit down at the exact same time and tell you, hey, we'll give you this much if you come work for us instead. That's the thing, like, we only have one option. We have PMC. We don't have 31 other competitors sitting us down saying, we'll give you 3 times as much to do the exact same job.
Yeah, but if you looked at PMC's fucking records, they'd be like, oh yeah, you're not worth it. Easy. And then
one of those 31 would say.
Yeah, but there's a huge difference between paying somebody $30 an hour when you make $1 million and then paying somebody $300 million when you're only able to pay your team tops $400 or $500 million. Huge difference. They're able to take that $30 million back and fire your ass if you're terrible in the first year. They're not able to say, oh yeah, we need all of our money back. Fuck you, Deshaun Watson. Not even comparable. Huge difference. It's easy to get rid of somebody that you make $30 an hour for when you make $1 million every fucking month versus having to tell 40 guys on a team, hey, look, sorry that you guys don't make as much as him. Sorry that he was a bust, but we'll all get through this together. There's a huge difference. One guy's getting conned. One guy's getting conned $30 an hour, which is something that they'll make back that week, I'm sure. And another one's getting conned $300 million and potentially 4 or 5 years of rebuilding because they made a terrible fucking decision.
But owners chose to make that decision. You don't have to give them that contract. That's like the Ravens right now. They could trade Lamar Jackson, get some good assets for it, and be perfectly fine.
And yeah, but you just said earlier that they built their entire team around. So
they didn't have to do that. They chose to do that. Their fault. You want to build your entire team around someone, you better pay that fucking guy what he wants. If you didn't plan on giving him whatever he wanted in that contract, then you shouldn't build your entire team around him. Like, if you're gonna commit that far, because this Ravens team Lamar's a special example because he's not like the average quarterbacks. If you're gonna spend half a decade building a team specifically for him, yeah, you better fucking give him what he wants.
Yeah, but why would they give him what he wants when he's not reliable and he hasn't even fucking played half of this? He hasn't even played the second half of the season.
If he's not that reliable, then why have you built your entire team around him? If he's not that reliable, then why have you spent all this time doing this?
Predict the future. Because they couldn't predict the future. They couldn't
That's a
predict
risk you
this guy
gotta
was just gonna. They could. Yeah, but even if it is a risk you got to take, now you need somebody to. It's just like when somebody's incredibly bad at something and you got to step in and help them. Right now, they have no fucking help. Right now, it's Lamar Jackson's way or the highway. If we want, for example, you draft somebody, and this is something that most teams do anyway. Most teams build their fucking team around their quarterback. That's what most teams do. So it's not like the Ravens just pissed everything away to do that. But yeah, so it's not like it's their fault for building their team around him. Anybody's going to do that. But you should be able to have the ability to tell that guy, no, you're not worth this much money, you're just being greedy, and you're being an asshole, and you're unreliable. You should be able to tell him no without him having to just throw a fucking fit about it. You should be able to tell him, no, dude, get back in there. And you should be able to tell him that without him going to somebody else and conning them for it, and then them getting fucked up and being put in the exact same fucking situation as the Ravens. Exact same one.
The thing is, every single team in the league has seen what Lamar Jackson is and how good he is or isn't in their opinion. So you can't really say they get conned if they give him a big contract when they don't have to give him that contract. That's like if he decides to go to the Dolphins and they give him the $300 million a year contract and he's not good, he misses half the year with injury, and he just doesn't win them a Super Bowl, they can't say, oh, this is fucking bullshit. They chose to give him that. They chose to give him that.
Yeah, but they chose to give him it blindly.
Not blindly. He's been in the league for 5 years. They know what he is.
Yeah, but essentially you have one of two options. You either A, give it to him, or don't. You give it to him or don't. You have absolutely no idea what he's worth. No idea. You have nobody to quote on what he's worth. It's just like when you walk into a house. You can think a house is worth $150,000. Might be worth 52, but you have nobody to tell you that. You have absolutely nobody to tell you that. All you can do is look at the house.
Well, each person is going to think a house is worth a different thing.
Yeah, but when you go in, that's the point of an appraisal. You go in and you have somebody say, oh yeah, this house is worth this much money. This car is worth this much money. It gets appraised. You have somebody that actually goes in and tells you what the value of that is, instead of other people going in and saying what it is blindly. Then you throw out numbers. You don't just go in and start throwing out numbers randomly and hope for the fucking best. That's stupid. It's dumb. You need it appraised. You need to see actually how much that person or individual or car or house is worth before you start talking numbers. Like, what would be the problem with it? What would be the problem with telling people how much they're worth? What would it be? We do it on 2K. We do it on Madden. What would the problem be?
Yeah, that's a video game.
How much people are worth? It's a video game about what actually happens to the NFL and NBA. What would be the problem in telling people what they're worth? What would it be?
You need to have people have the power to negotiate what they're worth. You can't have some person tell some other person,
yeah,
hey,
sure.
Your salary is this, and you're not. That's just how it's going to be.
Sure, you could negotiate. Sure, you could negotiate, but we're not going to negotiate over $100 million fucking dollars, dude. That is insane. Yeah, we might be able to negotiate $50 million, $30 million, but not $150 million fucking dollars. That's insane. It's a huge difference. Essentially, you're not negotiating; you're demanding at one point. There's a huge difference between giving a guy $5 and giving him $5,000. If you're giving $5, yeah, okay, yeah, negotiation. You give him $5,000. You're pretty much just donating to fucking charity, dude. It's a huge difference. Yeah, we can negotiate a little bit, but I want a rough estimate of what you are worth, and then we can talk about accolades. Then we can talk about give or take what we might be fine with. But we're not just gonna walk in and say, oh, okay, yeah, pay me $300 million, bro. I want it within a 2-year fucking period. 275 guaranteed. I know I missed the entire second half of the season. I know my passer rating is fucking terrible, but that's what I want. No, No fucking way. I need to see how much you're actually worth, bro. That like, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. And I honestly don't think that I don't think that this guy should have that much power purely because of the fact that he plays quarterback. You're not God, bro. You're not Jesus. Yeah, I get it. You play at a very incredible position, but at some point, you're just going to be promoting fucking laziness. It's just like with Street Clothes Davis, bro. At some point, you're just promoting fucking laziness just because the guy's name. Oh my God, he's Lamar Jackson, bro. We got to pay him a bunch of money. If you're not in the lab, if you're not cooking, bro, if you're not doing what you need to do to get really good at a fucking game, you shouldn't be worth that much. You shouldn't even have the damn
he is really good at the game. That's the thing.
Money.
He's one of the top end quarterbacks in the league.
Fucking seasons. When's the last time he got an MVP?
2019.
So he's still worth $300 million.
There's one MVP a year.
Okay.
Ever since Lamar Jackson won. No.
Has he been to the Super Bowl?
No.
How many playoff games has he won?
I don't fucking know the exact. I don't have to look at the stats.
I'm gonna argue not half as much as, let's say, Patrick Mahomes. And that's what he wants. He wants roughly half of what Patrick Mahomes is going to be making over his entire fucking team. Right?
Yeah.
So are we really going to say that guy's worth $300 million?
Someone in the league's going to.
It's bullshit, dude. You're just getting fucking played. Like, yeah, I get it. You can see what he's worth before, but he has essentially what you should do is you just let him be a fucking free agent. Fuck it. Let him be a free agent. Let him go.
Then you get nothing for him. You'd be way better off trading him.
Let him be a free agent. Fuck it. Because there's at some point, people, and mark my words, dude. At some point, people are gonna realize, oh shit, we're paying these guys too much.
Well, if nobody thought he was worth that, then nobody would give it to him. Like, your entire thing would be solved if Lamar Jackson went to free agency and not a single team gave him that contract. If every single team said, no, you're not worth this $300 million, then he would drop down.
It would help, but it wouldn't be solved because just...
How would it not be solved?
Because not only Lamar Jackson is going to be fucking asking for that. Think about it, dude, like I said earlier, this is the first year of that Deshaun Watson blockbuster fucking trade. The first year. Could you imagine what it's going to be like in 3 years? 4? 5?
But if he's not worth that money, don't give it to him. That's my point. If not a single team gives Lamar Jackson that $300 million, what is Lamar Jackson going to do? He's going to give something more reasonable, because it's either you go down to $200 million, which is more reasonable, or you're out of a fucking job. You're not making anything. Go fill out your McDonald's application. If nobody signs you, you're not making any fucking money.
Yeah, but the problem is since the Browns signed Deshaun Watson to that deal, you're gonna have a bunch of fucking people do this. Even if Lamar Jackson doesn't get picked up in free agency, you know how many people are gonna do the exact same fucking thing? They're just gonna ask for a ridiculous sum.
You mean exactly like Le'Veon Bell did? How'd that work out for him? You remember him? You remember Le'Veon Bell?
Yeah, and that's my point. You're going to have so many fucking people go to free agency and just get fucking dropped out because of it. Or you're going to have a bunch of teams get ripped off and be paying for something they literally should not be paying for.
If he's good enough to make it in the league, someone will pay him. That's like Le'Veon Bell. Thought he was worth a lot more than he was, so he was like, oh, I'm not going to give this fucking contract extension. Well, the team didn't give it to him. He said, oh, well, I'll just go to free agency then. Someone will give it to me. No one fucking gave it to him. Out of the league. Out of the league. So, Lamar Jackson, you want to mess around and say, you want to tell the Ravens, oh, I'm worth $300 million, take it or leave it? Okay, they'll say no. You're going to go to free agency, tell all these other teams, oh, I'm worth $300 million, take it or leave it. They all say no. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're out of a job.
If you had to give me a number right now, how much is he worth? If you're the GM, how much is he worth? How much are you paying him?
I don't know. I'm not good with fucking contracts. I don't know. He's definitely one of the top-end quarterbacks in the league, so he definitely would be around Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen money. Because think, ever since Lamar Jackson won his MVP, the only two quarterbacks to win an MVP since Lamar Jackson are Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes. Any other quarterback, you want to use the how many MVPs has he won since 2019 award. You can say that for anyone except for Patrick Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers. So
Yeah,
you could argue he's even more established than all these other quarterbacks.
Yeah, but the guy just sat out the last half of the fucking season purely based on what, bro? Like, that's my biggest... You are so accident prone. You're not a very good passer. So you're pretty much just a secondary fucking running back.
And yet, so how is he winning MVP? How is he the most valuable player?
And you're gonna hang it all on an MVP?
Yeah, when you're the most valuable player in an entire league, yeah, that's something to hang your hat on.
Yeah, in 2019, sure. But it's not 2019 anymore. Yeah, you have one MVP. Awesome, dude. Incredible. But it'd be even more incredible if you were an incredible passer and you were consistently in the game without getting hurt. But you're neither. And so, and now I'm starting to look at the MVP and I'm starting to say, did he peak early? Did he fall off? Is he not as good? Did he just have a Mickey Mouse run? I don't know.
If that's the case, then don't extend him.
I definitely don't feel good about that. Hey, that's probably what they're fucking doing. That's probably exactly what they're thinking.
So then what's the problem? What's the problem? If they're saying, oh, okay, we don't think he's worth that, they're putting their foot down saying, okay, he's not worth that.
It's like the problem is, it's not just one guy doing it. It's every single fucking guy in the NFL that thinks that they're worth $300 million, $400 million. It's asking for it. And it's not going to stop. In fact, it's going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. Because we didn't even think we'd be getting to this point at all. We didn't think we wouldn't have thought. We just pulled up Terry Bradshaw's last year for his salary. Wasn't even $1 million. Nobody thought we'd be getting to this point.
Well, yeah, because the salary cap back then was probably $10 million total.
Yeah, even then, $500 million. So what's it going to be in 30 years? $1 billion a year, $1 billion contract. I mean, we're looking at $300 million right now. $1 billion contract in 10, 20, 30 years.
Yeah, if companies get bigger and bigger and bigger, they're gonna pay their employers a lot more.
You know that's like saying that $1 billion contract.
If PMC was making three times as much money, then we'd be getting paid 3 times as much.
Let me ask you a question. Is any player in the NFL worth $1 billion?
We're not asking that right now. We're asking that later down the line. If the league has the money to give that,
but right now, is any one person in the NFL worth $1 billion?
That's up to each individual person.
Is it even marketable? $1 billion?
Patrick Mahomes is at $500 million right now. Is he worth it? Hell yeah, he is. He's worth every penny. Go ask any Chiefs fan. Is Patrick Mahomes worth his contract?
Yeah, but how long are they paying him out for?
12 years.
How long are they paying him out for? 12 years, right. That's an entire decade. So, what, $45 million a year? Not that insane. It's 12 years, but how long
not that insane, but Lamar Jackson's asking for the same fucking thing. He's asking for the same thing Patrick Mahomes has.
Yeah, and what has he supplied? Has he supplied as much as Patrick Mahomes?
No.
Like I said, would you give him that $300 million deal?
I personally would not, but that doesn't mean that they wouldn't. Just because you wouldn't doesn't mean somebody would.
It's insane. It's insane. There's absolutely no way to sell me that, yeah, we're going to give him $300 million. The rest of the team be damned. Hope you guys are lining up in the fucking red lines because we're not going to be able to afford anybody else.
Then don't give him that contract. It's that simple. Don't give him that contract.
Yeah, but we all know that there's going to be somebody that is, and it's bullshit, dude. It's bullshit that he has so much power to say, yeah, you have to sign me. And there's going to be somebody that doesn't know. They're just, yeah, fuck it. Whatever. And not only that, but there's more people doing it. There's not only just him doing it. There's a bunch of people asking for the same exact goddamn deal.
Don't have to
Well,
give
he
it to
got
him.
one. Why don't I? Well, he got that. Why don't I get it?
Yeah, because they're some of the best in the world at what they do. They all think they're the best. So they're all going to want to get paid the most because they all think they're worth the most.
I get that they all think that they're the best. They all think that they're worth the most, but you have to be honest and tell them that you're not. You're not the best quarterback in the NFL. So you're not going to get paid like the best quarterback in the NFL. You're not
But
the top 20 best quarterbacks in the NFL.
You also have to look
So
at
you're not
maybe
going to
the
get paid.
potential owners and being biased. You might not think Lamar Jackson's the best quarterback in the league. I might not think that. The Ravens owner that drafted him and has been paying him and has been watching him grow for 4 or 5 years, he might think Lamar Jackson's the best quarterback in the league.
So drown your franchise because of bias? That's what they're doing. They're going to drown the entire franchise because of bias. They're going to lose a lot of players because they can't pay him as much as they're paying Lamar Jackson purely because of the bias they have because they selected him.
That's what they choose to do. That's what they choose to do. Again, they don't have to give him that contract.
Dude, it's absolutely fucking ridiculous. There's absolutely no way. Who's giving him the contract?
I don't know how the contracts work.
Who's giving you Miami? No. No. There's no way Miami gives him that contract. Absolutely no way, no. You just saw what happened to Tua. You're not going to go for another quarterback that's injury prone. It's not going to happen.
All right, so tell me what happens if every single team decides to reject Lamar's contract offer. Tell me how that doesn't solve your problem.
Because you're not listening. Because there's going to be multiple people that do the exact same goddamn thing, and there's going to be somebody, because of the way numbers work, there's going to be somebody that falls for the fucking deal, and now they're in a Russell Wilson situation because, oh man, this guy's actually not as good as he thought he was. But I mean, I had to get something at my back.
Okay, well you can't blame the team and feel bad for them because they made a bad choice in hindsight.
Yeah, but the
That's
problem
what they-
is
that's what they
tell
chose to
people
do.
what they're worth. You need to tell people what they're worth. You can't just blindly say that, oh well, this guy's worth this much because he says he is.
You would not.
If you
You wouldn't sign a player to an extension for that much money if you didn't think they were worth it.
Or unless you had no other fucking option. What other option do the fucking Ravens have?
You could get a quarterback in free agency, or you can trade. There's 131 college schools, 131 possible college quarterbacks you can choose from.
Yeah, we just got Malik Willis last year. Not fucking good.
Not all of them pan out.
Yeah, that's the problem. You're essentially you trade your centerpiece, or you drown the rest of your franchise because he's asking for so much money, and you don't have the option to talk him down. By the way, so you either lose him or you lose good people because of it. Oh yeah, your fault. By the way, you decided to get a really good quarterback.
If you get good players, you're gonna pay them. That's how it is.
Pay him a ridiculous amount of money when they're not consistent,
If he's not consistent enough, then don't give it to him.
and then watch him go, and watch the person that you built your entire team around go, which every team does.
Yeah. If you really think he's that good, if you built your entire team around him, you would give him what he wants.
No.
If the Ravens were completely sold on Lamar, they would have given him that contract extension. And there's also other quarterbacks in the league that could play similar to him.
Yeah, but you shouldn't have to be that fucking. Who are they going to get? Who's in free agency right now?
I don't know.
Fucking Josh Dobbs, bro.
They have Tyler Huntley, their backup quarterback, made the Pro Bowl. Let that sink in. The Ravens' backup quarterback made the Pro Bowl this year as a reserve. Made the Pro Bowl. Tyler Huntley.
Did
Plays
they
the
make
exact same as
playoffs?
Lamar. Yes, they made the playoffs.
Who'd they lose to?
Bengals.
Lost to the Bengals.
Yep.
So without Lamar Jackson, are
Yep.
they better with Tyler Huntley than they are with Lamar Jackson?
No.
So pay him the $300 million and watch your potential Hall of Fame quarterback backup leave.
He's not a Hall of Fame backup quarterback.
So watch him leave because you're going to pay Lamar Jackson $300 million.
Choose who do you want? Who do you want? You gotta pick and choose.
What if Lamar Jackson? What if they pay him $300 million and Lamar Jackson isn't able to play because of an injury?
That's sports. That happens. As
275
much as it
guaranteed.
sucks to say. As much as it sucks to say, that's sports. That's sports.
It should not be like that. It definitely should not fucking be like that. That's why you have so many lazy ass fucking people in sports right now.
A player can't control that he gets injured and can't ever play again.
Yeah, but a lot of players are just content with what they have and they continuously ask for more fucking money. Just like Russell Westbrook, dude. Should he be making $46 million a year? No. No, he should not be making $46 million a year. No, you shouldn't.
If you
But
would
he
have
does.
asked, if you would have asked that back when he signed that contract in 2017, you would have had different thoughts.
Yeah, but that absolutely does not have any correlation to the Clippers paying him $46 million right now.
That's his contract.
Yeah, him making $46 million when he's on top versus him making $46 million when he's on the bottom are two completely
But
different things.
that was his contract. In 2017, they gave him a big extension that gave him $47 million for every year of that contract. If 4 years after that contract he's not that good, maybe you shouldn't have gave him a 4-year contract. Maybe you should have given him a 2-year deal or a 3-year deal.
Bottom line is, there's absolutely no reason in hell for any of these people to be asking for $300 million deals if you're incredibly inconsistent and on top of that you're injury prone.
If that was the case, then no one's going to give him the deal, and then there's nothing to worry about. No one's going to give him a $300 million deal. So he's going to have to go down to something that the teams are more comfortable with, or else he's not going to have any job.
And people are going to be asking for fucking $400 million deals just because they play QB, $500 million deals just because they play QB, $600 million deals just because they play QB.
Does the quarterback force the owners to sign the contract? I don't think they do. I think the owners have the option.
No,
to
they
sign
don't.
that
And then
contract.
somebody else goes and signs it, and then they say, well, fuck, I want that much money. And then somebody else goes and signs it, and they say, well, fuck, I want that much money. Then somebody else goes and signs it and says, fuck, well, I want that much money. That's what happened, by the way, with Patrick Mahomes. And then what just happened with Deshaun Watson. That's why they're in this predicament. That's why.
Because the Browns thought he was worth it.
Yeah. And now that's going to continuously happen. And now it's only going to get worse because of it.
Like,
But it's fine. But it's fine because it's never going to happen again.
Not
all these
every-
guys are going to
not
go.
every
All these
quarterback
guys
is
are going to
gonna
go to
get
free
paid that
agency, and none of them are going to get signed. And they're not going to make money. So that's fine. It's fine. It's going to fix itself, right? No.
it's exactly what the Browns did with Baker Mayfield.
It's going. I mean, all of it's going to fix itself, right? Because they're just going to. At some point, you know, people aren't going to get greedy or anything. They're not going to continuously ask for money, right?
You don't have to sign him to the contract. It's exactly what the
Okay.
Browns did with Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield said he wanted the contract that Deshaun Watson got. They said, no, you're not good enough. So they went out and got Deshaun Watson instead, someone who they thought was worth it.
Yeah, and what is going on because of it?
We have to wait and see. He's played 11 games.
No, what is going on because of that? Everybody's asking for that exact same fucking contract.
Because they all
Everybody.
think they're better. But the team has to decide if they're worth that or not. Just because Kyler Murray thinks he's worth $47 million a year doesn't mean the Cardinals think he's worth that. If you don't think he's worth that, don't give him that contract extension.
This shit is not going to fix itself. It's not going to get fixed anytime soon. All you're going to see is a bunch of people just saying, "Well, I'm worth this much, and I'm worth that much, and I'm worth this much," and it's not going to stop. It's not going to fix itself.
Who's making
Reed
the
is not-
most money contract-wise as a quarterback? Patrick Mahomes,
Reed does not.
correct?
I don't know, but all I'm saying is this is not going to fix itself. It's not. You're not going to have a bunch of people going
Hear
to
me out.
fucking
Hear me
free
out.
agency.
Hear me out. Patrick Mahomes is making the most money out of any quarterback, correct?
Yeah.
What team just won the Super Bowl? What team just won the Super Bowl?
The Chiefs?
So if the Chiefs can win with Patrick Mahomes taking up 75% of their contract, why can't other teams do it?
Because, well, it's because of the fact that not every team has Andy Reid. Not every team has Travis Kelce.
How are they affording Travis Kelce if they're giving Patrick Mahomes all this money? It's almost like they can still sign other players, and you have to pick and choose where you want your spots to be. You have to build your team around their strengths.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Why didn't the Bucks win the Super Bowl this year?
Because
Why didn't the Bucks win it?
Team wasn't as good this year.
What do
Their
you mean?
offensive line wasn't good. Their running game wasn't good. Chris Godwin
wasn't it
got
good?
hurt. He was out the entire year.
Why wasn't their team good?
Fired their coach. They had a different coach, too.
Okay.
Players aren't going
they're-
to be the
if they're-
exact same
if
every
they're
single
able-
year.
If they were able to win it, a few years ago, why weren't they able to win it this year?
Because it's hard to win a Super Bowl.
Right. Exactly. It's hard to win a Super Bowl, which means that if you're not already a dynasty now, you're not going to be a dynasty anytime soon, especially when somebody's taking up the majority of your salary. They're already a dynasty. Obviously, they're going to be able to make a fucking Super Bowl.
Winning one Super Bowl doesn't make you a dynasty. When you call this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team a dynasty, that's
they're a
factually wrong.
consistently good team. That makes you a dynasty. Just
How long
because
do you
the amount of
have to play to be consistently good? How many years in a row do you have to be good to be
Let
consistently
me
good?
ask you a question. What are the top 3 teams every single year to win a Super Bowl? Go ahead, I'll wait.
What do you mean top 3 teams? Like the top teams that are favored every year?
Yeah.
It changes every year.
So you mean to tell me that the Chiefs aren't a top 5, top 4, top team to win the Super Bowl every year?
Yeah. Do they win the Super Bowl every year? Do they win it every year?
But they're a favorite, right?
Yes, they're a favorite. Alabama's a favorite to win the college football playoff every single year. Do
Which
they win it
means
every
that
year?
they would have to be some type of dynasty in order to be favorited every year,
They're
correct?
good.
Right.
Every team's going to have the better teams.
Right. That is why not every team is the Kansas City Chiefs.
In 2021, the Lakers were favored to win the title. Were they a dynasty? In 2020, were the Lakers a dynasty? They were favored to win the championship. Yeah, they're a dynasty.
So what makes what's the difference between a dynasty and a consistently good team that everybody can acknowledge is consistently good? What's the difference?
A dynasty is a team
what's
that
the
consistently wins championships for years to come. The New England Patriots, they were a dynasty because they won 6 Super Bowls in 15 years.
Okay, so the Chiefs weren't a dynasty; they were a super team, right? Pretty much, super team.
I wouldn't say
consistently
super team.
good
They're
team.
just a really good team.
Right. Doesn't matter. The language is irrelevant. They are a team that the majority of the NFL isn't. They're a team the majority of the NFL is never going to be. So to say that, oh well, why aren't if the Chiefs are able to do it while paying Patrick Mahomes an insane amount of money, why aren't the Lions? The Lions aren't the Chiefs. The Lions don't have the people the Chiefs have.
How are the Chiefs able to have all these players if they're giving their quarterbacks 70% of their contract? If that's the big problem, you say, oh, teams can't give other players money. Well, the Chiefs are finding a way to do it. Why can't the other teams?
Because not every single team has every single person that is managing the Chiefs. That's why.
So you're going to fault the Chiefs because they have some of the best management and coaching in the league? Oh, it's so unfair that the Chiefs found a really good manager.
I'm not faulting the Chiefs. I'm simply saying this problem is not going to fix itself, and to simply say that, oh, well, we should be paying this guy 50% or 75% of our salary. I mean, it's fucking retarded. It's stupid. The idea that you're going to be paying a guy that amount of money randomly, and the idea that you're thinking it's going to fix itself is insane, because it's not. It's free, dude. Nobody's going to. No, you're not going to wake up and have Lamar Jackson say, "Yeah, I'll take a $4 million deal." It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. All of these blockbuster deals that continue to happen are not going to make it better.
If you sign a quarterback to a big contract and you win 1 Super Bowl, it's worth it. Worth it. So when you only extend that player,
everybody sign a quarterback to an insane deal in the hopes that you're going to win a Super Bowl.
If you think he's good enough to
potentially fuck the rest of your team for years to come because of it. Instead of
like the Chiefs
instead
did?
of just saying, instead of just saying, you know what, I got to see what you're actually worth instead of that, because it's offensive or because we just don't like the idea of it.
I mean, like the Chiefs did.
Oh, you mean one of the best players of all time? Before they signed him, you mean how many? Let me ask you a question: how many players are Patrick Mahomes caliber?
It's
Jimmy
debatable
Garoppolo?
for each person. Not Jimmy Garoppolo.
Jimmy Garoppolo?
No, not Jimmy
Josh
Garoppolo.
Allen?
Josh Allen,
Josh
yes.
Allen?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
He's not. No.
Yes, he is.
No. He's not.
He is.
Dude literally choked in the playoffs. No, he's not. No, absolutely not. He got too emotional in the playoffs and lost to Joe Burrow. No, he's not.
So he lost in the playoffs
Absolutely
one
not.
time, so he's not good.
He got too emotional in the playoffs, lost to school, and lost to Joe Burrow. No, he's not.
You lose one game in the playoffs, so you're not good? Does that mean Patrick Mahomes isn't good because he lost in the playoffs 2 years in a row?
No. Josh Allen is not. No. Josh Allen's not that good. Sorry. Only reason why people say Josh Allen is that good is because of the. I don't know, the heart that he has, the ability to go down the field and fucking go toe to toe with Patrick Mahomes in one game. Yeah, sure, but no, absolutely not.
I mean, you can't really say how good or bad a player is when you don't watch their games. You can't look at the box score and say, oh yeah, this guy's trash because his team lost.
Okay, so let me ask you a question: are you going to sign Josh Allen to a $500 million deal? Is he as good? Is he? Would you? Would you take Josh Allen over Patrick Mahomes?
I don't know if I'd take him over Patrick Mahomes, but he's
So
definitely
he's
one
not
of the
as
top
good
end
as Patrick
quarterbacks.
Mahomes. So he's not as good as Patrick Mahomes.
No, but it's not like Patrick Mahomes is just on this ungodly tier and Josh Allen's just this little fucking pebble on the ground that can't even compete.
Dude, Joe Burrow is better than Josh Allen.
It's debatable. You could say that if you want. Those are the three best quarterbacks in the league right now. Mahomes, Allen, Burrow.
Okay, so now that we've got that established, who's number 4?
I don't know. Every person has their own opinions. Just because I think someone's number 4 doesn't mean you are. Who's better? Who should be first pick in the draft? Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud? You and I say C.J. Stroud. Bryce Young's the favorite. More people think Bryce Young. Everyone has their own opinions.
Simply saying that we shouldn't have these teams. Simply saying that all of these teams should be giving the majority of their money to a quarterback, or just not getting a fucking quarterback at all is insane. Like it's weird. It's literally unfathomable. Don't get a quarterback or pay a quarterback an insane amount of money, or hope that you get one in the draft and hope that he's good. Those are your three options. Getting a quarterback for a reasonable amount of money, no more. If you want a quarterback, pay over, I don't know, $160 million. Other than that, hope you draft one. Hope you pick one up in free agency that's not terrible.
You got to find a quarterback you think's worth it, and then give him the contract.
Outside of the top 3, who's worth $160 million?
There's a lot of quarterbacks you could say are worth it. Aaron Rodgers is worth that kind of money.
He's worth that kind of money when he's going to leave the league in 2 years?
Yeah, just because he's going to retire doesn't mean he's not worth it. Give him a 2-year deal.
Give him a 2-year deal at his age and hope that he's able to produce something within 2 years?
Yeah,
Just
something
give him
bad.
$160 million?
Something doesn't happen, then in those 2 years, move on, something different.
Absolutely not. No, there's no way.
I mean, you got to go out and get the quarterback you want. You got to find the quarterback you want and give him the contract.
You're going to have a whole bunch of people on these teams. They're going to have it out for the fucking quarterback. You're going to have a whole bunch of problems inside the locker room because of it. All these quarterbacks are going to continue to ask for a lot more money.
Because if you don't have a good quarterback, you're not going to win. You're not going to win.
It's not going to fix itself. And to say that it's going to fix itself or it's not that big of a problem right now is just putting a band-aid on a fucking bullet.
It's because it's been proven that if you don't have a top-end quarterback, you're not going to win. Look at your team. You have a really good offensive line, probably the best running back in the league. Really good
problem
defense.
is how many high-end quarterbacks are able to just win you a game on their win you a season on their own? No good help. You might have one good player on the team because you're spending most of your money on the quarterback itself.
You can still build pieces.
Yeah, you can buy a PS5. You're just not going to be able to buy a second controller or any games for it. But you'll have the PS5 though. Hope it's fun.
Teams are still winning with their quarterbacks having these big amounts.
Yeah, because somebody has to lose the game. But just because teams are winning these games does not mean they're going anywhere by winning them. Like
what are you talking about? You're not going anywhere when you complete your goal?
What happened to Lamar Jackson is healthy all year. Do they go to the Super Bowl?
I don't know if they go to the Super Bowl, but they definitely beat the Bengals. They beat the Bengals. They move on. That's the thing that you're not. You didn't watch the game, did you? You didn't watch the playoff game. Bengals and
no, I'm
Ravens
sorry, I didn't watch the playoffs and Ravens fucking playoff game. No, I didn't.
Okay, so you didn't see that if the Ravens would have had Lamar Jackson, their $300 million quarterback, they would have beaten Joe Burrow in the playoffs, and then Joe Burrow wouldn't have been good because he would have choked in the playoffs on his home field, just like Josh Allen. So Joe Burrow wouldn't have been good.
Possible, but that didn't happen. Didn't happen. Did not happen.
Yeah, it didn't happen this year.
Didn't happen.
Do you know what's going to happen next year?
Nope. All I know is Lamar Jackson's going to ask for $300 million, and hopefully, I don't know. Hopefully the Ravens make it out of it. I mean, they're pretty much being held to the deal or just not having a really good fucking quarterback. Purely because of the fact that nobody is able to tell him, no, you're not worth that much money. And
you can tell him, no, he's not worth that much money.
That is
you're
right.
Exactly what the Browns did with Baker Mayfield.
And then you'll just fucking lose him, and then I don't know. And then it's not really going to matter because somebody else is going to ask for the exact same fucking deal. So
you got to find the one that's worth it. Lamar Jackson's not worth that deal, but if the Ravens are able to trade Lamar Jackson and then draft C.J. Stroud, and then C.J. Stroud turns out to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and then he asks for that $300 million deal, and you think he's worth it, then yeah, give it to him. That's like the Bengals before they got Joe Burrow. They had Andy Dalton. They were like, you know what? You are not worth a big-time contract. So we are going to get rid of you, and we're going to use our draft pick, and we're going to draft this guy named Joe Burrow. We're going to see how good he is. That guy worked out. So they decided
how many times is that going to work out for somebody? How many times? Justin Fields with the fucking Bears. Incredible quarterback. Didn't work out for him. They drafted him, though. Didn't work out for him.
What do you mean didn't work out for him? He's 2 years in.
Hey, he's 2 years in. He has nothing around him.
Yeah,
but if they build around him and then he asks for an insane amount of money, sucks. Don't pay him. Or pay him and then watch the rest of the fucking team.
That's not why the Bears are bad. The Bears are bad because they have horrible management that doesn't know what they're doing. That's why they've always been bad. It's just like the Lions. It's just like the Washington Commanders. Why are they always bad? They're not bad because, they can't find the right quarterback. No, they're bad because the people that are running that team don't know what they're doing and they make terrible choices.
What the fuck's the point? There's gonna be no point. Hey, yeah, if they're bad, they make terrible fucking choices, but it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
What do you mean doesn't matter?
It does not matter. It does not matter.
Why doesn't it matter?
Because of the fact that you got Justin Fields, man. You got an elite quarterback. Take him to the fucking chip, dude. Take him to the Super Bowl.
You gotta give him players. You can't give him garbage players. You have to choose the right players to sign. Name one wide receiver on the Bears.
Doesn't matter. You have an elite quarterback. Doesn't matter.
No.
You have an elite quarterback.
You need more than an elite quarterback.
You got to take him there. What do you mean, dude? All you need is an elite quarterback. You just said it earlier.
No, I did not.
All you need is an elite quarterback, and it'll take you there. It'll take you there. No, you don't just need an elite quarterback. You need an entire team. You don't need just an elite quarterback, and that's the problem. They're not thinking about an entire team.
But
Most of
you
these people
don't
are just
need
thinking
an
about
entire
one.
complete team. Like even before quarterbacks got these very big deals, you could not afford to have a really good quarterback and a really good running back and a really good offensive line and a really good tight end and a really good defensive line and really good linebackers and a really
Not
good
saying
corners.
you need to afford it. You need to.
You
be
need a
able
team.
to
You need a
have-
team. You need a team, right? You need a team.
You
You need a
need-
team.
yeah.
You need a team.
But that doesn't mean that you can't make an incredible team. You need to be spending money on good shit and then make what you can't spend money on. Problem is, most of these teams aren't doing it either
Well, you
because
can't.
they're spending
you can't.
so much money on the fucking quarterbacks and they're not able to make anything. But let's just spend all the money on the quarterback, right? And hope that'll take us there, right?
I mean, when the richest quarterback in the league just won the Super Bowl, that kind of deflates that whole point. Because of the team.
No, it
It's
doesn't,
not
because
just
how many people
Patrick
are Patrick
Mahomes.
Mahomes?
It's not
How many
just
people are
Patrick
Patrick
Mahomes.
You're right. It's Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. Maybe even George Kittle.
George Kittle. You know who George Kittle is? Considering
You
the,
play for the fucking 49ers?
yeah,
My bad. Get them mixed up all the time. But you see my point. They literally only have Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes. That's it.
and Mecole Hardman, and Sky Moore,
Who?
and Kadarius Toney,
Who?
and a really good offensive line. You don't watch the games, so obviously you don't know who the fuck they are. You can't say who when you don't watch the games. Like, you could name off the entire Clippers roster, and I'd say who. Doesn't mean they're bad. I just don't watch their
Yeah.
fucking games.
I don't know any of them. Don't know any of them.
Because you don't watch the games.
Don't know any of them. Don't know a single one. Not a single one. Yeah, of course I don't watch the fucking Chiefs games. I'm not an analyst.
So how
I
are
don't
you
try
gonna
to be.
so how are you
Try to
how,
watch all
how,
of the Chiefs games.
How are you gonna say that they don't have a team around Patrick Mahomes when you don't watch their games and don't know what their team
So
is?
you're admitting that they have a team.
They have good players around. Yes.
So they have an entire team.
Not an entire team. They found their pieces, and
Which
those
one is
pieces
it? Do
work
they have
together.
a team or do they not have a team?
They have a team,
You
but
either-
they don't
you
have
either
a
do or
god
you don't.
squad at every position. They have a team that they know how to work with. They knew what players to put in each spot.
Now, how many teams in the NFL have that?
I don't fucking know. That's good
If you're a
management.
team, if you're a team that has an incredible squad, maybe not the perfect squad, but has an incredible squad, would you think, oh man, maybe I'm able to spend $500 million on a quarterback? I'd say so. But if you're not, would you be able to spend $500 million, $300 million on a quarterback? No. But are you put in a position where you almost have to? Yeah, I'd say so. I would say so. Yeah.
I mean, going
I'd
into
say
this
so.
year, the Chiefs weren't the favorites to win the
let me-
Super Bowl.
Let me ask you a question.
They were barely
What are we
favored to
gonna
win their
do-
division.
What are we going to do when we get to the point to where the minimum buyout, the minimum paycheck for a quarterback is $300 million for a contract? What are we going to do when we get to that point? What are we going to do? Well,
don't
it's
know.
going to happen. Me neither. But it's going to get to that point because it got to this point. And it's easy to say, well, I mean, it wouldn't. It's just going to fix itself. That's what every lazy-ass NFL executive is thinking right now. It's going to fix itself. We don't need to do anything about it. Obviously, greed never takes over people. I mean, people aren't susceptible to greed. Now, it's going to fix itself. There's absolutely no shot that terrible fucking players are going to be asking for incredible lump sums of money.
If
people
they're
are gonna
terrible, then they aren't
and
gonna get it.
And people are going to be put in positions where they almost have to get those people because of the fact that what else are you going to do? You're going to get
Start
somebody
over.
from the draft and hope they work out?
Yep.
And then
Exactly what you
potentially
did.
waste 2-3 years? 4 years?
That's how it is. Every single time you draft a rookie, it could be a waste of 2, 3, 4 years. So you're saying we should never have a draft? Every single draft
No.
pick could be
No, I'm saying that you
useless.
shouldn't be put in a point to where you almost have to go fucking bankrupt just to get a quarterback, bro. That's all I'm saying. You shouldn't have to go damn near bankrupt just to get a good quarterback.
I mean,
That's all I'm saying.
if a team can do that and still win the Super Bowl, then why can't other teams?
Yeah, I know. Why can't the Lions do that? I know. Why can't the Texans do that? Why can't the Jags do that?
Because they have
Why can't the Bears do that?
bad ownership. Their players aren't as good.
What's the NFL? They have to be just as good. They're all pros.
They're all pros, but that doesn't mean they're all at the same level.
They're all professionals.
They're all professionals.
professionals.
It doesn't mean they're all on the same level.
So how do you fix bad management then? If it solely comes down to bad management, then why is everybody talking about how this is just terrible for the NFL?
I don't know.
If it purely comes down to terrible management, then why is this a problem at all?
Maybe these owners are just looking for a scapegoat, saying, "Oh, the reason my team is so bad is because I gave all this money to this player." Well, no, you just didn't surround them with the right pieces.
Is every single team in the NFL that's not the Chiefs doing that, or the Bengals?
I don't know. I'm not an in-depth analyst that looks at every single team, top to bottom, knows exactly who they have on their roster.
So if the money's not an issue, then that would mean that any team in the NFL would be able to buy a good quarterback, correct?
You have to decide who's
the
worth
money's
it
not
in
an
the
issue.
contract.
Right, but if the money isn't an issue, if it's fine, if anybody and everybody's okay to buy a fucking quarterback worth $300 million, that is purely the management.
You need to know how to fill out your roster. You need to know how the salary cap works. You need to know what players to get for how much. You need to try and find budget players. That's like the Chiefs. Chiefs have a wide receiver, Kadarius Toney, making $1 million a year. He was a huge part to their Super Bowl team. You got to find the right players. You got to find the players that work together.
What do you think? Got one this time?
It's not the money, it's just the management.
Could also be bad coaching. Bad positional
Bad
coaches.
coaching. So the NFL definitely isn't just going about all money, and the quarterbacks definitely aren't just going about all money, right? I mean, that's preposterous. It's not.
When you're negotiating a
Greed,
contract,
greed.
you're going to ask for as much money as possible.
Yeah, but there's a difference between asking for a lot of money and then being absolutely insane with the amount of greed that you have. There's a huge difference. Because one's realistic, the other isn't. So there's
If it's not
absolutely
realistic, then why is it happening?
Good question.
It's not realistic for
happening-
Lamar
it's
Jackson to
happening
get
because
$300 million.
it's not-
If that's the
it's-
case, then he's not going to get it.
It's not realistic, but it's happening because of the fact that the Browns threw out an unrealistic offer. Because they were so desperate because their golden boy left, and on top of that, I mean, Deshaun Watson, dude, why wouldn't you go for him?
They
So?
thought he was worth that, so they gave him the contract that they thought he was worth. The simple fact is, if the Ravens don't think Lamar Jackson is worth $300 million, don't give him that fucking contract and try to get another quarterback. Trade Lamar Jackson. You don't think he's worth it? Fine. See if someone else does think he is.
Dude, that's not going to fix the fucking problem. You're going to continue to have this problem happen. And you can't just bank on everybody going to free agency and not getting signed to fix the problem.
They will get signed in free agency, but that's the thing. In free agency, they'll get signed for what they're really worth. You think Lamar Jackson doesn't deserve $300 million? Okay, let's say he goes into free agency, signs a $175 million deal with the Falcons. What's the problem? He signs a $175 million deal with the Atlanta Falcons. What is the problem?
Problem is, you're going to continue to... You just don't get it. Never mind. You don't get it. Never mind. It's completely fucking pointless to even explain it.
If he was worth it, they'd give it to him. When Joe Burrow asked for $300 million, are the Bengals going to give it to him? Yes, because they think he's worth it.
when Justin Herbert asked for $275 million. Are the Chargers going to give it to him? I don't know. I'm not the owner of the Chargers. Maybe they do give it to him. Maybe they think he is worth it. If you don't think he's worth it, don't give it to him. I just don't understand how you can say that the problem is that he's asking for $300 million. So then when I give you a scenario where he makes half as much money as that, it doesn't solve the problem. There's still a problem. Oh, because more people are going to ask for it? Okay, well then just do the same thing with them.
Dude, you just don't get it, man. It's okay. We're not on the same eye to eye level, I guess. I don't know. We just don't.
Who wants an autograph? Got my fucking pen right here. Okay, down someplace else. All charged up. Wait, there's so many I can't even smell them anymore. Shut the hell up for a second. Beautiful. Give us a tour. Stop fucking trying to eat me. Here's the windup. Lights out. No more fighting.
I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what we say, because Alabama's still winning it all next year.
Charge on the shield.
Think about it, it really just does mean more down south.